In a quiet corner of the world, where mountains seem to touch the sky, where thick forests breathe with life, and rivers murmur secrets, there lies an ancient tapestry woven with tales that have lingered for centuries. The mythology of the Basque people. These stories aren't just tales of gods and spirits, but carry the heartbeat of a people who have long lived in communion with the earth, honoring forces and mysteries older than time itself. The Basque people are unique, and so is their mythology. No one truly knows where they came from. Their language, Euskara, is unlike any other. While the rest of Europe shifted with invasions, migrations, and the rise of empires, the Basques held on, quietly protecting their customs, their beliefs, and the stories of their gods. In a way, these myths are not just tales but guardians of a people's soul. To speak of Basque mythology is to hear the whispers of ancient times, when humans first looked up at the sky and wondered, when they felt the ground beneath their feet and sensed the living presence. At the heart of Basque mythology is Mari, the mother goddess. To the Basques, Mari is more than just a divine figure. She is the very spirit of the earth, of storms, of the caves, mountains, and fields that form the landscape. She dwells in hidden places, especially the high peaks and deep caves, and when she moves across the sky, she brings rain and thunder. Imagine growing up believing that the very land around you is alive, that the hills you climb, the trees you pass, the rocks you touch, all have souls that remember everything. Mari was a mother, a protector, yet fierce and unyielding, reminding her people that nature is a force beyond human control. Her presence instilled respect, even fear, and the Basques, in return, lived in a way that honored her spirit. But Mari wasn't alone. The Basque people also tell tales of Sugar, her partner, a dragon-like being with the power to shape storms. In him, they saw both creation and destruction, and together with Mari, they balanced each other as the earth and the storm, giving birth to life and yet reminding humanity of its vulnerability. Sugar could bring thunder and fire, but he was also tied to fertility, to the life-giving rains that made crops grow and fed families. With every rumble of thunder, the Basques felt the power of their gods, and maybe a twinge of fear, a reminder that these forces could give, but also take away. Then there are the Basajaun, the lords of the forest, beings covered in hair who protect the animals and plants. Unlike deities who rule from above, Basajaun live close to the ground, watching over the woods, warning shepherds of danger, and caring for the forests as a father might guard his children. There are stories of people encountering Basajaun, tales where the guardian gave gifts of knowledge, teaching humans how to farm, forage, and live in harmony with nature. They were not gods, but they were wiser than humans, and they carried the ancient wisdom of the forests in every step. To encounter a Basajaun was to glimpse the secrets of the wild, to feel connected to the very roots of the earth. Basque mythology doesn't just speak of mighty gods and guardians, but also of spirits who dwell in rivers, rocks, and the whispering wind. The Lamias, beautiful and strange beings, live in streams, combing their hair with golden combs. If you stumbled upon one, you might be blessed or cursed, depending on how you treated her. For the Basques, every stream was more than water. It was a place of magic, of potential wonder or danger. These spirits reminded them that life is precious, that kindness matters, that the smallest acts could change one's fate. Yet, this mythology is not all gentle whispers and peaceful beings. There are the Sorjanak, the witches of Basque lore, often misunderstood but powerful in their own way. These women were healers, midwives, holders of ancient knowledge passed down through generations. They knew the plants, the stars, the phases of the moon, and used these to help their people. But in times of suspicion, when Christianity sought to purge old beliefs, many of these women were hunted, accused of dark practices. The Sorjanak remind us of the fear that often surrounds what we do not understand, and they carry the weight of a tragic history where wisdom was seen as threat and power as something to be crushed. Basque mythology holds a rare, bittersweet beauty. It speaks of life in a land where nature itself is revered, where gods walk among humans, and where every corner of the landscape holds its own story. Even the everyday actions, planting seeds, herding sheep, lighting a fire, become sacred rituals. The mountains are not just mountains, they are places where spirits dwell, where gods like Mari hide, watching over the people below. The rivers and streams are veins of life, flowing with not just water, but with the energy of the land, cared for by beings like the Lamias who keep the balance between humans and nature. Each tale, each belief, is a thread woven into the lives of the Basque people. These stories aren't relics of the past, but live on in the language, in the dances, and the festivals celebrated in villages, where fires are lit and drums echo into the night. When Basque children listen to these stories, they feel connected to a past that is always present, to a world that is both seen and unseen. In the flickering light of a fire, they hear about Mari and Sugar and the wise Basajaun, and in their young hearts, these beings become real. These are not stories you simply read or tell, they're stories you feel, stories that shape you, that teach respect, humility, and courage. As the modern world presses forward, the Basque people have held onto these myths, keeping them close, as if by remembering them, they remember themselves. In a world where so much is explained and mapped out, Basque mythology reminds us that some things remain unknown, untamed. And maybe that's exactly how it should be. There is a place where the mountains rise steeply from the earth, draped in mist, and where the rivers wind like veins through ancient valleys, their waters cold and clear, whispering stories as old as the stones they pass. The land of the Basques is a place where the earth seems to breathe, where every hill, tree, and river carries the weight of countless memories and myths. Here, between the rugged peaks of the Pyrenees and the wild embrace of the Atlantic, lies a landscape that has shaped not only the daily lives of its people but their very spirit. The Basque people live in a land that demands respect. The mountains, tall and sometimes shrouded in cloud, are not simply places to climb, they are revered, nearly sacred. Each peak, with its ancient presence, feels like a guardian watching over the villages nestled below. The mountains have always been more than landforms here, they are protectors, witnesses, and symbols of resilience. When storms rage and the winds howl, the Basques know that the mountains are alive, standing as steadfast as they have for centuries, sheltering them from the forces beyond. The people feel a bond with these mountains that runs deeper than words. It's as if the stones themselves hold their ancestors' footsteps, connecting each generation to the next. The forests in this land are dense, filled with towering trees that sway like giants when the wind rushes through. The forests are filled with sounds that hint at life hidden just out of sight, the rustle of leaves, the snap of twigs, and the occasional call of a bird echoing through the trees. To step into one of these forests is to step into a place of reverence. Each tree seems to hold a quiet wisdom, and the people who walk these paths know they are not alone. Generations have felt the presence of something beyond the visible here, a sense of spirits watching from the shadows, protectors of the wild, guardians of secrets only they understand. Running through these valleys and forests are rivers that carve their way through rock and soil, linking villages like threads in a tapestry. These rivers aren't just sources of water, they are veins of life, reminders of the rhythm of nature that pulses through everything here. From the smallest stream to the broad, rushing river, each body of water is a living part of the landscape. Basque children are raised with stories about these rivers, tales of Lamias, mysterious water spirits who live beneath the surface, with golden combs and watchful eyes. The rivers are cherished, not just for the life they bring but for the mysteries they hold, flowing reminders of the invisible world that exists alongside the everyday. The coastlines of Basque Country are wild and unforgiving, where towering cliffs plunge into the surging waves of the Atlantic. The ocean has always been a powerful force, a place both revered and feared. Fishermen who venture out to sea know that the waves can be both friend and foe, and many have offered silent prayers to Mari, the earth goddess, who is believed to have power over storms. Standing on these cliffs, feeling the salt wind and hearing the endless roar of the waves, one feels the pull of something far greater than oneself. The ocean is a world of mysteries, of unknown depths and distant horizons, and the Basque people have always respected its power, knowing that they are at the mercy of forces far stronger than any human. Even the open fields and pastures are more than simple stretches of land. These are places where shepherds have tended their flocks for centuries, where each hill and hollow is known and cherished. The land here doesn't merely provide, it nurtures, and it teaches patience, resilience, and respect. The Basques have always understood that they do not own this land, they are its caretakers. They work it, care for it, and in return, it provides them with the food, shelter, and space they need to live. This relationship with the land, so old and so profound, has shaped not just their livelihoods but their beliefs and their values. Caves are scattered across the Basque region, dark and mysterious, holding the weight of countless years. These caves aren't just formations of stone, they are considered sacred spaces, places where the goddess Mari is believed to dwell. To enter a cave here is to step into a place of ancient reverence, where the air feels thick with history. People enter with quiet steps and respectful silence, knowing that these are places where human life and divine presence touch. Many Basque myths begin in these caves, and for generations, they have been places of pilgrimage, of quiet worship, and of deep respect. Each part of the Basque landscape has a voice, a presence, a spirit. The mountains, forests, rivers, and sea don't just surround the Basques, they live within them, shaping who they are. The people here feel this connection in their bones, in the rhythm of their daily lives, in the stories they tell their children. The land has taught them humility, resilience, and a sense of belonging that goes beyond time and place. It's not just a land they live on but a part of who they are, as inseparable from them as their language and their blood. For the Basque people, the land is alive, filled with memories, spirits, and the quiet strength of those who came before. The myths they tell are rooted in this earth, shaped by the peaks and valleys, the rivers and seas, as much a part of the landscape as the rocks and trees. And as long as there are Basques who walk this land, who listen to the stories whispered by rivers and the echoes carried by the wind, the spirit of their land will live on, as wild, as resilient, and as eternal as the mountains themselves. Thousands of years ago, long before written words and city walls, in the heart of what we now call the Basque Country, people lived in quiet communion with the land, finding their way through a world that was both beautiful and terrifying. Imagine a time when fire was a sacred mystery, where the night sky was a vast, unknown map of distant lights, and the only language was the one spoken by the earth itself. This is where the first stirrings of Basque belief began, rooted in the raw elements of existence and woven through the rhythms of nature. Ancient people once sheltered in the caves of this rugged land, carving their lives into its rock and soil. These caves, cold and dark, held secrets that stretched back to the dawn of humankind. Archaeologists have found their markings, delicate handprints, drawings of wild animals, and symbols that hint at something more than survival. In those silent spaces, where the light of fire danced against stone, these early Basques must have looked at their creations and felt a spark of awe, a sense of something greater than themselves. They painted what they saw around them: bison, deer, horses, creatures they depended on for food and life. But more than survival, these paintings seemed to carry a reverence, a respect for the living world they depended on. Some archaeologists believe these paintings were a form of connection, a way of reaching out to the spirits of the animals and asking for their strength, perhaps even their forgiveness. They hunted, but they did not hunt carelessly. Life was fragile, and they understood that they were just one part of the larger web. They saw life and death play out daily and knew the delicate balance that held their world together. To hunt was not just to take but to respect, to honor the animal as an equal being on this earth. In the damp, shadowy corners of these caves, people began to find answers to questions they could not fully understand. Why did life end? Where did the spirit go? What lay beyond the stars that watched over them at night? These were the mysteries that gave birth to belief. Early Basques may not have had names for their gods or rituals like those of later civilizations, but they felt something. They saw patterns in nature, cycles that repeated, day and night, the turn of seasons, life and death. They felt the rhythm of the world and believed there were forces at work that they could not see, yet were as real as the mountains around them. The ancient bones and artifacts found in the caves hint at rituals, ways these people tried to understand the mysteries of life and death. Graves carefully laid with offerings, a shell, a bone bead, a piece of stone carved into an unknown shape, suggest they believed that death was not the end, that the spirit continued in some way. Maybe they believed their loved ones went into the mountains, where the spirits watched over the living. These simple objects, buried with care, speak of a faith in something beyond this life, something enduring. The earth itself was a source of wonder. Mountains became sacred, not simply because of their size, but because they seemed to touch the sky, a link between the world below and the heavens above. To climb a mountain was not just a physical act, but a spiritual one, a way of connecting to something higher. The forests, dense and mysterious, were places of caution and respect. They held unknown forces, spirits that could bless or harm, depending on how they were treated. Rivers and streams, sources of water and life, also became sacred, places where people could feel the presence of unseen beings. Every part of the natural world carried its own spirit, its own life force, and the people knew they were only a small part of this vast, interconnected web. As they looked out on their rugged homeland, they must have felt awe, perhaps a shiver of fear, knowing they were surrounded by forces they could not control. Storms rolled in over the mountains, with thunder echoing through the valleys, a reminder of nature's power. They likely believed that these storms were expressions of spirits or gods, beings who controlled the rain, the thunder, and the winds. When lightning struck the ground, splitting trees or lighting the night in brilliant flashes, it must have seemed like a message from the gods themselves. Fire was a sacred gift, a source of warmth and light, yet also something to be respected, as it held the power to destroy. In the dance of firelight, they might have seen visions, shadows of ancestors, or glimpses of the spirits that roamed the land. Their tools and small carvings carry a silent story. Stones were shaped with care, each line etched with purpose, perhaps in hopes of channeling the strength or spirit of the earth into something they could carry with them. Bone and wood became charms, symbols of protection, or maybe tokens of gratitude for the life the earth gave them. These were not mere objects, they were pieces of the natural world, crafted and kept close, holding meaning known only to those who made them. As centuries passed, these early beliefs began to weave themselves into the daily lives of the Basque people, becoming the foundation of the myths and legends that would follow. From simple acts of respect for the earth, a reverence for the unknown grew. Each mountain, each stream, each tree became a part of a larger, sacred world, and the Basque people lived with the understanding that they were part of something ancient and unbroken. To them, life was a gift from the land, from the unseen forces that moved through nature, and they honored these forces in the only way they knew, by living humbly, respectfully, and in harmony with the world that held them. This spirit of awe and gratitude toward the land and the mysteries of existence has survived, echoing through the ages, and the tales and traditions that still linger in the Basque country today. Through those early rituals, those quiet prayers in the darkness of the caves, a faith was born that remains, a quiet pulse beneath the stories and the songs, a reminder of a time when the world itself was a sacred place, and every step taken upon it was a gift. In the heart of the Basque country, there's a language that hums with a sound like no other, a voice so ancient that no one knows where it came from or how it began. This language, Euskara, isn't just a way to speak, it's a way to remember, a way to feel connected to something timeless. In each word, each phrase, there's an echo of the past, an invisible thread that connects those who speak it to the mountains, the rivers, and to generations long gone. It's a language that has carried the stories, the beliefs, and the spirit of the Basque people through centuries, guarding their mythology as carefully as a mother cradles her child. Euskara is one of the oldest languages in Europe, and in its words lies a mystery. While other languages evolved and shifted with influences from Latin, Germanic, or Slavic tongues, Euskara stood apart, like a lone tree untouched by time. And just as the land of the Basques is rugged and unyielding, so too is their language. Each syllable feels like a heartbeat, carrying the weight of stories passed down through voices that never wrote them down but spoke them, shared them, and kept them alive. In the ancient days, there were no books, no written records, only voices gathered by the fireside as dusk fell over the mountains. Here, in the flickering warmth, grandparents spoke to children, weaving tales of Mari, the goddess of earth and sky, of Sugar, her storm-bringing companion, and of the Basajaun, the forest lords who protected the land. These stories weren't just meant to entertain, they were lessons, prayers, and memories of a world where humans and nature shared a sacred bond. To listen was to be part of something larger, a way of holding close the wisdom and warnings of those who came before. And so, in each Basque village, the oral tradition grew, alive and breathing, flowing through generations. The words of these stories took on a sacred rhythm, a cadence that was careful, precise, as if each phrase held a fragile piece of history that might vanish if not cherished. Even as the world outside changed and languages blended, Euskara remained strong, a fortress protecting the identity and spirit of the Basque people. In this language, every story feels like a whisper from the earth itself, a connection to a world seen and unseen, where each tale is a guide, a guardian, and a promise that the past will never be forgotten. The storytellers, known as Cantaulares, held a cherished place in Basque culture. They weren't just reciting words, they were breathing life into the past, reviving heroes and spirits, allowing them to live again in the hearts of those who listened. Their voices could rise like a storm or fall to a gentle whisper, each word carefully chosen, each pause filled with meaning. Through them, the ancient tales were not static, they grew, changed slightly with each telling, and adapted to the lives of those who heard them. Yet, at their core, these stories held the same truths, the same power, unchanged by time. Euskara, in its essence, became the bridge between people and their myths. Words in this language carry shades of meaning that reach beyond literal translation. They hold feelings, nuances, and glimpses of a world that feels just beyond reach. When someone speaks of Mari or sugar in Euskara, they are not simply recounting a myth, they are touching something sacred, keeping a promise to those who lived before them. The words wrap around these tales like a blanket, protecting them, cradling them, ensuring that they are not forgotten but instead woven into the lives of each new generation. Even today, in a world of digital screens and constant noise, the Basque language keeps its quiet power. Families still gather, and elders still share stories, and with every telling, the mythology of the Basques finds new life. The words remain unbroken because they are more than sounds, they are symbols of a people who have held their ground through countless challenges, preserving their way of life through sheer resilience and love for their heritage. When a child hears these stories in Euskara, they hear not just a tale but a piece of their heart, something that belongs to them as surely as their own family, their own history. In the Basque country, to speak Euskara is to carry a responsibility, a quiet honor that links each person to their ancestors. It's a bond that doesn't break with time but only grows stronger. The stories held in Euskara are not merely legends, they are pieces of a culture that has survived against all odds, against invasions, against pressures to change, against forces that try to erase it. This language, this voice of the Basque people, has kept their beliefs, their gods, their fears, and their hopes safe, wrapped in words that echo like footsteps along an ancient path. Each tale spoken in Euskara is like a breath from the past, a reminder of a time when humans and nature walked side by side, when gods dwelt in mountains and spirits lived in streams. It is a reminder that these stories aren't simply myths to be told, they are memories to be felt, connections to a way of life that holds as much meaning now as it did in the time of the first storytellers. For in Euskara, the words are not just sounds, they are the guardians of the past, the voices of those who once walked these lands, and the promise that their legacy will live on as long as there are Basques to speak them. In a world surrounded by powerful empires, the Basque people stood like their own rugged mountains, enduring, silent, and unbroken. But even as they held tightly to their land and their ways, the winds of change blew around them, carrying whispers of foreign gods, strange customs, and new ways of life. The Romans came first, with their roads, their legions, and a fierce hunger to conquer. To the Basques, these invaders seemed like creatures from another world, wearing gleaming armor, speaking a language as hard as the iron they wielded. The Romans brought with them gods from across the Mediterranean, deities who ruled from marble temples and demanded devotion. Yet, for the Basques, their gods and spirits were woven into the land itself. There was no need for temples, they had mountains and rivers, caves, and forests. The Basques watched as the Romans built roads through their lands, laid out stone upon stone. They observed, but did not bend, their own beliefs like roots deeply sunk into the soil. The Romans could pass through, but the heart of the Basque land remained untouched. And though the people learned of Roman gods, these distant deities held little meaning next to Mari, the powerful goddess of the earth, whose spirit was in every tree and every breeze. As years passed, new threats arose. The Visigoths, fierce warriors from the north, swept down with their own beliefs, their gods of battle and storm. These warriors left their marks, but even as they moved through Basque lands, the Basques held fast to their stories. The Visigoths' gods were foreign, and while they respected power, the Basques knew they had their own ancient strength. They held onto the tales of their protectors, the gentle but watchful Basajaun, who lived in the forest and guarded over them, and the powerful Mari, whose presence could bring storms or calm the skies. To the Basque people, these beings were more than myths. They were companions, family, even in times of great change and challenge. Yet, one force would come that was unlike any before. It was neither a warrior's blade nor a conqueror's flag, but something softer, something that crept in slowly and changed the world with whispers rather than war. Christianity spread across the land, first like a distant rumor, then with a quiet insistence. Priests came, bearing crosses and speaking of a new God, one who ruled the heavens and condemned the old ways. The Basques listened, some out of curiosity, others with caution. This new religion spoke of saints and angels, beings who seemed so different from the wild, untamed spirits they had always known. The stories began to shift. Some Basque spirits took on new names, changed shapes, or found themselves tucked into the folds of Christian tales. Mari, the great earth goddess, remained, but people whispered of her as a witch, hiding her in secret places, keeping her safe in shadows. The Basajaunic, once mighty and revered, turned into creatures of folklore, strange and distant. The forests and caves where they once roamed grew quieter, their stories softened, their edges blurred by the new faith. Some Basques embraced this new faith, finding a place for both old beliefs and new ones. They walked a careful line, honoring the stories of their ancestors while speaking the names of saints, lighting candles for both Mari and the Virgin Mary. To them, these figures weren't rivals, they were simply different faces of the same mystery. The mountains, the forests, and the rivers still held their magic, and while the names of the gods might change, the soul of the land remained the same. But there were those who kept the old ways closer, who clung to the ancient names and rituals in secret. They spoke of Mari in hushed tones, kept charms to honor the Basajaunic, and in their hearts, believed that the old spirits watched over them still. For them, the stories of their ancestors were not just words, they were promises, bonds woven into their lives. These people would whisper the tales to their children, sharing their magic beneath the stars, passing down a legacy of quiet resilience. And so, as the world around them changed, the Basques found ways to adapt without letting go. They listened to the stories of the Christians and, in the dark hours of the night, whispered their own. The Romans, the Visigoths, and the Christians each left their mark, but the Basque spirit endured. Their myths, their gods, their connection to the land, these were things that could bend but not break, just like the mountains that sheltered them. Through every wave of invasion, every shift in faith, they carried forward the voices of the past, keeping their stories alive as they always had, woven into the heart of their land. In the heart of Basque mythology, Mari stands as a force of nature herself, fierce and nurturing, mysterious and ever-present. She isn't just a goddess, she is the soul of the mountains, the pulse of the rivers, the whispering wind through the trees. To the Basques, Mari is the mother of all things, carrying the secrets of life and death within her. She is life, fertility, power, and the sacred rhythm of nature that moves through every part of the world. Mari's presence is felt most strongly in the mountains, where she is said to make her home. When dark clouds gather around the peaks, the Basque people know she is near, moving through her ancient realms. She brings storms, thunder rumbling in the distance like a heartbeat, rain sweeping down in sheets to nourish the earth below. People look up at those mountains with respect and awe, sensing her power in every crash of thunder, every bolt of lightning that splits the sky. She is raw, untamed power, as fierce as she is beautiful. She is the wildness of the land itself, a reminder of its gifts and its strength. But Mari is not only a goddess of storms and mountains, she is also the source of life. She is connected to the fertile earth, to the cycles that turn and turn, marking the seasons. In spring, as flowers bloom and fields turn green, she is there, guiding the growth, breathing life into the soil, into seeds that sprout and flourish. The Basque people feel her presence in the gentle rains that nourish the land, and the warmth of the sun that brings life to the crops. She is both the wild force that can bring storms and the gentle hand that lets plants and animals thrive. Life and death, growth and decay, Mari holds them all, and through her, the land and its people know abundance. To her people, Mari is also a teacher. She doesn't just rule from above, she comes down to live among them, taking human form. People tell stories of encountering a beautiful woman with long, dark hair, her eyes as deep as the earth itself. Sometimes she appears as an old woman, her face lined with the wisdom of ages. She is said to live in hidden caves, where those who are brave and respectful enough may approach her, seeking her guidance or blessing. In these encounters, she teaches the values of respect for the land, of honesty, of honoring family and community. Her lessons are woven through stories passed down by word of mouth, stories that remind the Basques to live in harmony with the world around them. Mari's symbols are as much a part of the landscape as she is. Caves are her sacred places, secretive and silent, where the earth holds its mysteries close. In these hidden spaces, where light barely touches, Mari is present. People say that if you leave an offering at the entrance of her cave, she may protect you, watch over you, and guide you through life. But she is not one to be taken lightly. Her blessings are only for those who approach her with respect, those who understand the balance of giving and taking, of honoring the earth and all it holds. Fire is another of her symbols, a reminder of her fierce and transformative power. In the hearths of Basque homes, people see her spirit flickering in the flames, warming their families and protecting them from the cold. Fire is life and destruction, a force that must be handled carefully, respected, and controlled. Through fire, Mari reminds her people that power must be treated with caution and that they are only stewards of this land, never its masters. She is also seen in the moon, watching over her people from the night sky. To look at the moon is to feel her presence, to sense her gentle but strong protection. The cycles of the moon mirror the cycles of life, the phases of growth and decline. She is always there, her light both a comfort and a reminder of her constant watch over the world. In her presence, the Basque people feel safe, guided by a force that has been with them since the beginning of time. Mari is a protector, but she can also bring justice in ways both subtle and severe. Stories tell of those who wronged their communities, who lied, stole, or disrespected the land, finding themselves facing Mari's wrath. A storm might gather, fierce and unyielding, or a sudden darkness might fall, covering the offender in shadow. Mari is fair, but she does not tolerate greed, dishonesty, or betrayal. Through her justice, she keeps her people grounded, reminding them that they are connected to each other and to the earth itself. Her power is a balance, a harmony that keeps all things in their rightful place. Yet, for all her strength, Mari is not distant or unreachable. She is both the land and the spirit within it, close and caring for those who honor her. To the Basque people, Mari is family. She is the heart of their traditions, their protector, their mother. Her spirit flows through the rivers they drink from, the soil they till, and the air they breathe. Each time they see a storm approaching, or a flame flickering, or the moon rising, they feel her presence, strong, unwavering, as eternal as the mountains she calls home. Through Mari, the Basques know that they are never alone, that they are part of a story that is as old as the earth itself. And as long as they honor her, as long as they remember, she will be there, watching, guiding, and protecting the heart of their land, the soul of their people. When thunder shakes the mountains and lightning tears open the sky, the Basque people know it's Sugar who is near. He is not just a god but a force of nature, a dragon serpent who moves through clouds and storms, bringing both wonder and fear. The tales say he lives in the mountains, hidden in the shadows and coiling in the mists. Sugar is Mari's consort, the one who tempers her fierce beauty with his powerful presence. He is not gentle, and yet, in his strength, he protects the land, watching over it with a gaze as old as time itself. Sugar's form is something out of a dream, or perhaps a nightmare. His body is long and sinuous, like a great serpent with scales that glimmer like storm clouds at dusk. His eyes are said to be fiery, a glowing amber that pierces through the darkness, while his breath carries the scent of rain on dry earth. He is both dragon and serpent, a creature of the sky and of the earth. When he moves, he brings storms in his wake, each roll of his body calling forth thunder that echoes across the valleys. To see Shugar in the sky is to witness raw power, to feel the hairs on your arms rise as you sense the energy he brings, fierce and unstoppable. Shugar is not a god of gentle rains or soft breezes. His storms are wild, ferocious, a show of strength that can leave the land scarred and battered. Yet, these storms are also his way of nourishing the earth, of bringing life after the fury has passed. The Basque people know to respect him, to honor his presence as they would a wildfire that, while terrifying, also clears the way for new growth. Shugar's storms are feared, yes, but they are also revered as part of the natural rhythm, a reminder of the balance between creation and destruction. It is said that when Shugar and Mari come together, the heavens erupt in thunder and lightning, a cosmic dance that mirrors their love and unity. Their union brings both rain to nourish the fields and lightning to crack the sky open in a display of raw, unstoppable power. The people believe that in these moments, Shugar and Mari are closest, and the world itself holds its breath in awe. Their love is not tender, it is primal, filled with the passion of a thunderstorm, the strength of the earth meeting the sky. To witness their connection is to be reminded of the deep bonds that hold the universe together, invisible yet unbreakable. Shugar's influence reaches beyond just storms and weather. He is also seen as a guardian, a fierce protector of the land and its people. When threats approach, when darkness looms, the Basque people feel Shugar's watchful presence, his coiled strength ready to strike. Just as he can bring storms, he can also ward off harm, his spirit winding through the land like an invisible shield. He watches over the mountains, the valleys, and the rivers, his gaze fierce, his spirit as wild and unyielding as the land he calls home. In the villages, parents tell their children of Shugar's presence, teaching them to respect the forces they cannot control. They share stories of how Shugar can be seen in the skies, his form twisting through the clouds, watching over them even in the darkest nights. When thunder rumbles in the distance, children learn to listen, to feel the power that moves through the earth. They are taught to be humble, to understand that Shugar's strength is not something to challenge or provoke, but to honor, to respect. His storms are a reminder that there are powers far greater than themselves, powers that demand awe and humility. Some say Shugar is a dragon who once walked the earth, while others believe he has always belonged to the skies, a creature born of clouds and storms. His nature is both mysterious and terrifying, a being who lives between worlds, who understands both the rage of the storm and the quiet of the mountain's shadow. He is as much a part of the land as the trees and rivers, a spirit that moves through every hidden corner, every quiet valley. To those who feel his presence, Shugar is a reminder of the ancient forces that shaped the world, forces that are still very much alive, waiting just beyond the clouds. Shugar's story is not one of gentle guidance or soft protection. His love is fierce, his loyalty unbreakable. He stands with Mari as a guardian, a reminder of the old ways, of a time when gods and spirits walked among humans, when the world was raw and new. And though the Basques have faced countless challenges, Shugar's presence has been their constant companion, a symbol of strength, resilience, and unyielding power. To honor him is to accept the storms as part of life, to understand that growth often comes through struggle, and that every thunderstorm is a promise of life to follow. Even now, as the Basque people look to the skies, they see Shugar there, coiled in the clouds, a dragon serpent who watches over his people. They feel his strength in the mountains, in the winds that sweep through the valleys, and the rain that brings life to the earth. Shugar is not just a figure from myth, he is a presence, a protector, a god who still lives in the hearts of those who call the Basque country home. And as long as there are storms, as long as there is thunder in the mountains, Shugar's spirit will endure, watching, waiting, protecting his land and his people with the strength of a dragon and the love of a guardian. La, the earth goddess, is not only beneath our feet but within the breath of every living thing. She is the silent strength holding the mountains and the soft soil in which seeds begin their journey. To the Basque people, she is life itself, a spirit of growth and warmth, but also of rest and return. La is the mother of all things that grow, her presence steady, nurturing, and endless. In every blade of grass, and each fallen leaf, she speaks to her people, reminding them of the cycles of life, of the beauty of growth, and the peace of letting go. La is there in spring when the earth wakes from its winter rest, and her spirit can be felt in the greening fields, and the first flowers pushing through the cold soil. She is the warmth in the sunlight, the gentle pull that urges every sprout to reach upward. The Basques feel her presence in the land's awakening, in the tender shoots that seem to drink in the sun's light. She is the promise of life, the guardian of every new beginning. People gather around her spirit during this time, feeling her blessing in every fresh bud and each new leaf that covers the hills. But La is also the quiet presence that watches over the harvest, the time of plenty and fullness. She's there when the fields are ripe and heavy with grain, when fruit weighs down the trees, and when the people gather the earth's gifts with grateful hands. Each harvest is a moment of celebration and a reminder of her love, a love that nurtures, feeds, and sustains. People sing songs of thanks to La, offering pieces of their harvest as a gift back to the land, knowing that everything they have comes from her kindness. She is both the one who provides and the one who asks them to remember where all life begins. But La's gifts do not end with life and growth. She is the gentle guide through the mysteries of death, and her people trust her to hold their loved ones as they return to the earth. When autumn comes, the leaves begin to fall, and the days grow short. She is there, wrapping the land in peace, inviting everything to rest. There is no fear in her presence, no darkness, only a quiet acceptance that life is a circle, that every ending is also a beginning. The Basque people lay their loved ones in the ground with songs of thanks, trusting La to receive them with tenderness, to hold them in her embrace until they return again in new life. Her spirit is in the soil, and from it, all things rise and fall. She understands the beauty in every stage of life, the growth, the fullness, the release. La is more than just the earth, she is the pulse within it, a gentle, constant heartbeat that reminds her people to cherish each moment, to find peace in change, to honor both the flourishing and the fading. Her presence is a comfort to all who walk the earth, for in her, they find both a beginning and an end, a guide through life and a gentle promise that every soul will find its way back to her. In every season, La is there, a quiet guardian of life and death, a reminder that all things are held in her care. And for the Basque people, this is not just a belief, but a feeling, a truth that lives in their hearts, grounding them, connecting them, and giving them strength in all things. La is the mother who holds the land, the spirit who nurtures all life, the quiet presence who promises that, in the end, all things return to her. The first rays of light spreading across the Basque hills bring with them the spirit of Eki, the sun goddess, who warms the earth and awakens the world. Every morning, her golden light touches the fields, fills the trees, and dances upon the rivers. Eki isn't just a source of light, she is life itself, her warmth carrying the hope of growth and abundance. The Basque people feel her presence in every sunrise, a gentle yet powerful reminder that with each new day, life is renewed and the earth is blessed. To the farmers and the people of the land, Eki is not only a goddess, but also a protector of their harvests, a guardian of the seasons. Her light is a gift they cherish, and they work beneath it with a grateful heart, knowing that all life, all growth, depends on her. In the fields, they feel her touch, guiding every seed they plant and watching over every crop that sprouts. It is Eki's warmth that ripens the grains, that fills the fruits with sweetness, and that paints the landscape with the colors of life. They trust her to bring them seasons of abundance and strength. During the long days of summer, Eki's power reaches its peak. The Basque people gather to celebrate her, to give thanks for the harvests and the fullness of life she brings. Seasonal festivals dedicated to Eki are filled with laughter and music, with families and friends coming together under her watchful eye. They light fires, dance, and sing, honoring her with every joyful gesture. Through these rituals, they show their gratitude and invite her blessing, knowing that her light is their protection, their comfort, and their guide. Eki watches over them, her presence a quiet promise that, as long as she shines, life will endure. But Eki's gifts are not only for the fields and crops. She is a source of strength in every part of life. Her light lifts spirits, her warmth brings joy, and her power fills those who honor her with hope. In the darkest times, when the nights are long and the cold settles over the land, the Basque people remember Eki. They remember her promise that the light will always return, that the seasons will turn, and that her strength is always there, even in the shadows. Eki's light is not only in the sky, it lives in their hearts, guiding them, giving them courage, and keeping them close to the earth and to each other. Eki's story is one of love for her people and of loyalty to the land. The Basques look to her not just for physical warmth, but for a sense of connection, for the feeling of being watched over and protected. Every sunrise is a reminder that she is near, that she sees them, and that her light will always return. Through her, they find not only the strength to work the land, but the courage to face each day with hope, to live each season with gratitude, and to look to the future with trust in the cycle of life she brings. Eki is more than a goddess, she is a friend, a guide, and the heart of the world she lights up each day. The Basque people look up at the night sky and find comfort in Ilargi, the moon goddess, whose gentle light watches over them from above. Her presence is quiet, yet powerful, as she pulls at the tides, guides the seasons, and marks the rhythm of their lives. Ilargi is more than a light in the darkness, she is the silent keeper of time, the goddess of cycles and change, the one who holds the mysteries of life and death within her silver glow. Her phases tell a story, a reminder that everything changes, yet everything returns. In her waxing and waning, Ilargi mirrors the life that unfolds in her shadow. To those who watch her, each phase speaks of growth, fullness, release, and rebirth. When she is new, dark, hidden from the world, she is a whisper of beginnings, a quiet promise of what is to come. And as she grows, each night revealing more of herself, she shows the beauty of growth, of things becoming. By the time she is full, Ilargi shines with all her strength, casting her light upon the world, filling the night with her presence, her power undeniable. Then, just as gently, she begins to wane, her light fading in a tender retreat, reminding her people of the cycle that never ends, the return to quiet rest, to peace, before beginning once more. Ilargi's connection to femininity is deep and sacred. For the women of the Basque people, she is a sister, a guide, a symbol of strength and mystery. She moves with them through each phase of life, her presence a comforting reminder that their lives, too, have a rhythm, a pulse. Young girls grow under her watch, learning from her quiet example that life will unfold as it must, that beauty exists in every stage. Mothers, too, feel her closeness, her steady light in the dark moments, her reassurance that every cycle has its purpose. And in old age, as women feel the wisdom of years settle within them, Ilargi shines with a special clarity, her waning light a reminder of the beauty of release, of letting go with grace. The cycles of the moon also speak to the men and the children, to all who live beneath her gentle gaze. Farmers plant by her phases, fishers wait for her pull on the tides, and families sit together under her light, telling stories that have been passed down through generations. To the Basques, Ilargi's influence is woven into every part of life, her presence as steady as the mountains, as vital as the rivers. She is a protector in the night, her light guiding the lost, comforting the lonely, and bringing peace to all who sleep beneath her watchful eye. In times of hardship, when the path seems unclear, the Basque people look to Ilargi as a reminder that all things pass, that darkness is followed by light, that each phase has its place and meaning. They see in her the beauty of patience, of waiting, of trusting that even in the darkest nights, she is there, hidden but never gone. Her cycles teach them to let go, to have faith, to know that life itself is a journey of phases, each one as precious as the last. Ilargi is the goddess of time and change, but also of the mysteries that lie beyond understanding. Her light touches the hidden parts of the soul, illuminating dreams, inspiring poets, and comforting those who long for answers. She is a reminder of all that cannot be explained, of the magic that exists in the world just beyond reach. Under her light, the Basque people feel a closeness to those who came before, those who, like them, looked up at the moon and felt her silent presence, her quiet wisdom. In Ilargi, They see not only the passing of days and years, but the timeless connection that binds all people to each other, to the earth, and to the stars. Ilargi's light is a gentle promise that life is a circle, that endings are beginnings, that nothing is ever truly lost. And as long as she shines, the Basque people know they are not alone, for she is with them, watching, waiting, and guiding them through the cycles of life, her light a steady, unwavering comfort in a world that is always changing. They say that deep in the forests of the Basque Mountains, beyond where the trees grow thickest and the sunlight barely touches the ground, there lives a being older than any legend. The Basajaun, the wild and hairy lord of the forest, is a presence felt more than seen, a guardian of nature who watches over both beasts and humans alike. His spirit fills the woods, his footsteps echo in the silence, and those who have felt his presence speak of a power, both fearsome and protective, that binds every living thing in his world together. The Basajaun's form is as ancient as the trees themselves, covered in thick, wild hair, towering and strong, a creature both part of and protector of his surroundings. He is no ordinary creature of myth. He is a being that embodies the forest's strength, wisdom, and mystery. Known to wander through the deep woods, he is said to know every inch of the land, every animal that calls it home, and every plant that grows under its shelter. His very existence seems woven into the life around him, an inseparable part of the wilderness, breathing with it, feeling every rustle, every whisper of the leaves, every song of the birds. Animals know him, trust him, as their protector. Deer, foxes, and birds all sense his presence as they move through the woods. To them, he is no threat but a guardian. When wolves prowl too close to a village or a storm threatens to shake the trees to their roots, it's said that Basajaun is there, keeping a watchful eye, guiding the creatures to safety, sometimes even lending his strength to the trees so they hold their ground against fierce winds. His protection extends not only to animals but to the forest itself, roots, rivers, stones, and all. When he is near, the forest seems to breathe a little easier, more alive, as if his spirit gives it life. And for the people of the Basque lands, Basajaun is both a mystery and a friend, a force of nature they respect and revere. Farmers and shepherds, in particular, know him as a figure who shares his knowledge of the land with them. There are tales of him appearing to those in need, of his wild yet kind heart leading farmers to fertile soil, to water sources hidden deep in the woods, or showing shepherds safe passages for their flocks. It's said he taught them the secrets of farming, sharing with them knowledge of how to tend to the soil, how to keep their animals safe, and how to live in harmony with the world around them. But while Basajaun is a protector, he is also a being to be respected, even feared. Those who would harm his forest or bring harm to the animals within it are said to feel his wrath. His eyes, it is said, can see through any deception, his strength unmatched by any mortal, and those who threaten the peace of his world would find themselves lost in the woods, never to find their way home. The Basque people know that the forest is not just a place to wander blindly, it is a home, alive and sacred, and Basajaun is its fierce defender. They tread carefully, leaving no harm in their wake, offering him their respect, for they know that his protection comes with a price of humility and honor toward the land they share. When children hear the stories of Basajaun, they listen wide-eyed, feeling a mixture of awe and comfort. Parents tell them that as long as Basajaun roams the forests, they are safe, that he watches over the land with a love as wild as the woods he guards. They're told that he is more than a creature, he is a spirit, a force, a being of pure, ancient wisdom who remembers when the world was young and who will continue to protect it as long as the trees stand and the rivers flow. And so, they learn early to respect the forest, to leave no mark, to give thanks to the trees, and to walk with care, knowing that every step taken in the woods is taken under Basajaun's watchful eye. There's a quiet reverence that fills the air whenever his name is spoken. Basajaun, Lord of the Forest, is more than just a myth. He is a reminder, a guardian who keeps alive the bond between people and the land. His story is etched into every path, every branch, every rock that feels the weight of his steps. In a world that changes, that grows and forgets, he is a constant, a wild, untamed heart beating within the forest, reminding all who venture within that they are walking on sacred ground, protected and watched over by a spirit who cares for it as fiercely as he does for his own life. In the quiet hours of dawn, When the rivers of the Basque country lay still and the mist drifts softly over the water, the Lamias, mysterious river spirits, are said to awaken. These are not gentle, sweet spirits. They are beings of beauty and danger, mysterious creatures with the face of a woman and legs like a bird, often adorned with sharp talons and graceful feathers. Their beauty is haunting, and their gaze carries an otherworldly pull, yet beneath that charm lies a power and a warning. Stories of the Lamias have been told around Basque fires for generations, each tale a delicate dance between enchantment and caution. These spirits are known to lure the unsuspecting, their allure so captivating that even the most grounded soul might feel the urge to draw nearer, to listen, to follow. Young men are particularly warned about their beauty, for many who sought to find a Lamia by the river never returned home. Some say the Lamias sing softly to themselves, an ancient song so mesmerizing that one might forget where they are, their feet leading them into the depths of the river without a second thought. Yet Lamias are not simply creatures of malice. Their actions are often portrayed as responses to the behavior of those who encounter them. They are known to help the kind-hearted, even reward those who respect nature and treat others well. There are tales of Lamias helping lost travelers find their way home or granting blessings to those who protect the rivers and forests. The Lamias' gifts are subtle but powerful, given freely to those who show love for the world around them. To these people, they are gentle and kind, a reminder that nature itself can be both nurturing and fierce. For those who show disrespect, however, the Lamias can be unforgiving. Anyone who defiles their rivers, who harms the land, or who mocks their mysteries might find themselves at the mercy of their wrath. Some stories speak of how the Lamias would reveal their true form in such moments, the delicate beauty transforming into something fierce and wild, their talons sharp, their gaze piercing. Those who cross them quickly learn that the Lamias are not merely spirits of water, they are defenders of the rivers and all that flows within them. Basque parents often tell these stories to their children, not simply to frighten them but to instill a respect for nature, a reminder that all actions have consequences. The Lamia's stories teach that beauty can hold danger, that mystery can demand caution, and that the natural world deserves reverence. The riverbanks, in these tales, are not just stretches of water and earth, they are sacred spaces, where spirits dwell, watching and waiting. And the Lamias, with their haunting presence, remind the people that the river has a voice, that nature is alive, and that respect is the only safe path forward. When night falls and the river glistens under the moonlight, the people remember the Lamias and keep their distance, feeling the presence of these enigmatic beings just beyond the edge of sight. They know that somewhere, perhaps in the darkest part of the river, the Lamias are watching, guarding, and waiting, keeping the balance of beauty and caution, mystery and power, alive in every drop of water that flows through the heart of the land. In the rugged hills and ancient peaks of the Basque country, where the mountains stand like silent witnesses to centuries gone by, tales of the Jentilak live on. These were not mere humans, but giants, beings of immense size and strength, with hearts bound to the earth and souls older than any human memory. The Jentilak, it is said, roamed these lands long before recorded history, their footfalls echoing through the valleys, their lives as intertwined with the rocks and soil as the roots of the oldest trees. The Jentilak were not creatures of fleeting whims, they embodied the landscape itself, each movement a force of nature. They could lift stones as large as houses, shaping hills and forming valleys with their immense hands. In the stories, they used these stones to create great cairns and cromlechs that still stand today, mysterious monuments marking their existence. Locals look upon these stones and know that they are more than rock. They are the handiwork of the giants who once called these mountains their home, a reminder that ancient hands once molded the earth itself. In the heart of Basque country, parents tell their children of the Jentilak, of the giants who were more than just physically powerful. These giants had hearts as strong as their bodies, full of wisdom and resilience, guardians of the land who held an unspoken code to protect it. They knew the land's secrets, the places where the rivers ran beneath the surface, the best places to shelter from storms. They were builders, guides, and protectors. And for a time, the Jentilak lived in peace, guiding humans with their knowledge of the earth and teaching them how to live in harmony with the land. But the Jentilak's time was not to last forever. With the coming of Christianity, a new era began, and legends tell of how the giants sensed it long before any human understood what was happening. They felt a change in the air, a shift in the balance of things, as if the world itself was letting go of its ancient ways. The Jentilak, with their deep connection to the primal forces, knew that their time was coming to an end. There are stories of the giants retreating into the mountains, into hidden caves and high cliffs where no human dared to follow. Some say they disappeared into the land itself, merging with the hills and stones, their bodies becoming part of the mountains they had once roamed so freely. One tale tells of the very last of the Jentilak, who, upon seeing a bright light in the sky, a symbol, perhaps, of the new faith, threw a great stone in a final act of defiance or farewell. The stone landed miles away, a testament to his power and sorrow, his mark upon the world he was leaving behind. Locals point to certain stones scattered across the landscape, claiming them as the last traces of the Jentilak's presence, remnants of their strength left for future generations to ponder. Even today, when shepherds walk the mountain paths and farmers till the rocky soil, they feel the presence of the Jentilak in the stones and hills that surround them. It is said that in the quiet moments, when the mist blankets the valleys and the wind whispers through the peaks, one can almost hear the giants' heavy breaths, as if they are still there, watching over the land they loved so fiercely. And in the bones of the earth, in the stones stacked high by hands long gone, the people of Basque country feel their guardians still, giants whose spirits linger on in the land they helped to shape. In the Basque highlands, where time feels slow and the land itself bears scars from ancient hands, stories speak of the Marowak, the mysterious beings behind the colossal stone structures that dot the landscape. When a person stumbles upon one of these dolmens, weathered by ages, it is as if the past breathes softly, whispering a tale that blurs the line between reality and legend. These structures, resting on lonely hillsides or hidden within quiet groves, carry the weight of something larger than life, a sacredness given not only by their age, but by the unseen hands that once shaped them. The Marowak are more than builders in these tales. They are keepers of a sacred knowledge, beings who knew the secrets of the earth and sky, who could harness forces long forgotten by humankind. Some say they were not of this world, that they came from somewhere beyond, drawn to the ancient Basque lands by forces unknown. Others believe they were simply part of the earth itself, living embodiments of the mountains and valleys, ancient beings who took form for a time to create these wonders before vanishing into the stones they left behind. As the tales go, the Marowak possessed strength beyond any human, lifting stones the size of boulders as if they were mere pebbles. It is said that they worked in silence, under the cloak of night, their figures silhouetted against the moonlight as they moved with purpose, each placement of stone precise and intentional. When dawn broke, their handiwork would stand waiting in the mist, towering over the land in quiet reverence, as if inviting the people to remember something sacred and eternal. And yet, no one ever saw them finish their work. The Marowak left no trace, no footprints, no tools, only the immense stones as a testament to their labor. Villagers would marvel at the structures come morning, in awe of how these towering stones, sometimes as tall as 2 men, could have been placed so perfectly. There are stories of people who would lay their hands on these stones, feeling the cold surface and sensing a pulse beneath, as if the stones themselves held a faint echo of the hands that placed them there. The dolmens became more than markers or burial sites. They were hallowed ground, charged with the memories of the Marowak's work, a bridge between the people and the mysteries of the ancient world. Some of these structures align with the movements of the stars, the changing seasons, or the cycle of life itself. It's said that the Marowak built not for mere shelter, but to honor the turning of the world, to capture in stone the rhythm of time. Farmers and shepherds passing by these dolmens would leave offerings, small trinkets, a bit of food, or a token of gratitude, hoping to earn the favor of the Marowak, or perhaps the spirits they believed watched over these places. These structures were not mere stones stacked upon one another. They were living memories, physical markers that held the weight of an ancient and mysterious purpose. There are whispers that on certain nights, when the moon is full and the mist gathers thick, the Marowak return, just for a brief moment. Villagers who claim to have seen them say they appear as shadows, bending over their dolmens as if inspecting their work, making sure their legacy stands strong against the erosion of time. These are rare glimpses, though, fleeting and haunting, leaving those who see them in silent awe, wondering if they had truly glimpsed something otherworldly or if it was merely the landscape playing tricks on weary eyes. For the people of the Basque country, the dolmens are reminders that some stories cannot be entirely explained. The Marowak, whoever or whatever they were, left behind something precious, a silent, steadfast beauty that has weathered countless winters, fierce storms, and scorching suns. And as long as those stones stand, the memory of the Marowak will endure, living on in the quiet spaces of Basque lore, a whispered reminder of an ancient strength, a lost wisdom, and a mystery too beautiful to ever fully fade away. In the quiet of night, beneath a sky filled with stars that seem close enough to touch, the Basque hills once held whispers of rituals led by the Txantxangorri. These women, known to some as witches, were healers, midwives, and keepers of ancient knowledge, daughters of the land and stars alike. In small villages and hidden groves, they gathered not out of malice but in devotion to something older and deeper than anything written. Their magic wasn't spells cast in anger, it was a reverence for nature and a way of life that had survived countless generations. Yet, these women would soon become the hunted, their names spoken with fear, their legacy twisted by the tides of suspicion. In Basque lore, the Txantxangorri weren't simply feared figures, they were powerful, wise, and gifted, in tune with the pulse of the earth. They knew the herbs to heal, the words to soothe the restless, and the rituals that called upon the forces of the natural world. To see them was to witness a tradition as ancient as the mountains. Their gatherings were celebrated during nights when the moon shone brightly, illuminating the sacred stones and casting long shadows over the hills. In these moments, they were joined by Mari, the Great Mother, who, it was believed, shared her gifts with them, allowing the Txantxangorri to wield knowledge beyond what most could comprehend. But there came a time when the air grew thick with fear and suspicion. A new threat loomed over the hills, a dark shadow cast not by spirits, but by men whose eyes could no longer see the beauty of the Txantxangorri's rites. Whispers began to spread, fueled by a growing suspicion of anything tied to the earth or its hidden powers. It was as if a storm had settled over the land, ignited by fear of what could not be understood. Those who once came to the Txantxangorri for healing began to turn away, casting fearful glances and clutching charms to protect against the very women who had nursed their children and saved their sick. Soon, accusations filled the air, and the Txantxangorri, women who had always been rooted in the rhythms of nature, found themselves labeled as enemies. No longer revered as healers, they were branded as servants of something dark. Inquisitors arrived, armed with their own twisted view of purity and justice, and the Txantxangorri became targets of a relentless hunt. Those who were captured endured accusations, torture, and humiliation, forced to confess to crimes they never committed, coerced into naming others as accomplices in acts of evil they had never imagined. Many were lost in this brutal era, some to flames, others to exile and despair. The mountains that had once echoed with the chants of the Txantxangorri grew silent. Their circles were broken, their gatherings driven into hiding. Mothers, daughters, sisters, all were caught in the storm that threatened to erase their very existence. Even the stones seemed to weep, bearing witness to a loss that could not be undone. Yet, despite the violence that sought to erase them, the spirit of the Txantxangorri never fully faded. Their memory lives on, whispered in stories passed down by those who remember the truth of who they were. In the folklore of Basque country, they remain symbols of resilience, reminders of a time when women held the mysteries of life in their hands, celebrated under the light of the moon. And even today, when the wind howls through the hills, some say it carries the voices of the Txantxangorri, singing their ancient songs, a legacy as enduring as the land itself. When the Basque people speak of caves, there's a reverence in their voices, a quiet understanding that these dark, hidden spaces are more than stone and shadow. Caves hold a sacredness, an ancient magic that whispers of a world both close and beyond reach. Here, in these silent depths, where daylight fades and the air grows cool and still, it's believed that one can step closer to Mari, the great goddess who watches over the land. These caves aren't merely formations in the mountains, they're portals to the divine, places where the veil between the seen and unseen is worn thin. Entering a cave in Basque country is like crossing into another realm, one where the soul feels both a thrill and a quiet sense of awe. There's a rawness, an intensity in the air. The walls, formed through ages, seem to breathe, each ripple in the stone a silent witness to the prayers, rituals, and whispered hopes of those who came before. People would come to these caves carrying offerings, humble gifts left for Mari, a handful of grain, a woven charm, a token of devotion, to seek her blessings or, perhaps, a glimpse of her presence. The atmosphere within these sacred spaces feels alive, a presence just out of sight, waiting with a patience that stretches back to the beginning of time. In Basque tradition, Mari, the mother goddess, resides in the earth, often depicted as emerging from or disappearing into the mountains. The caves are her home, her sanctuary. It's said that on certain nights, especially when storms rage across the land, Mari can be seen traveling between caves, her figure appearing against the flashes of lightning, a vision of beauty and strength, guiding her people through her mere presence. Those who witness her are struck by a sense of both fear and reverence, knowing they've been granted a rare glimpse of something beyond human understanding. These caves were once filled with the quiet sounds of rituals. In these dark recesses, hidden from the gaze of the outside world, ceremonies were performed to honor Mari, to ask for her protection, to celebrate the cycle of life that she governed. Women gathered in the cool stillness, their voices lifting in song, the words echoing off the walls, mingling with the smoke of their offerings. Men and women alike would stand in silence, feeling the presence of something vast and eternal, the goddess of their people enveloping them in her shadow. The beauty of these caves lies not just in their physical form, but in their role as keepers of ancient memories. Each step deeper into the darkness feels like a step back in time, to an age when humans and gods lived closer together, when the divine felt as present and tangible as the stone beneath one's hand. To touch the walls of these caves is to touch history itself, to feel the connection to those who sought Mari's blessing and strength in times of hardship and celebration alike. And yet, these caves carry a weight, too, a solemn reminder of the balance between life and death. They are places of protection and reverence, but also spaces that carry the mystery of the unknown. In Basque tradition, the caves represent not just the womb of the earth, but a passage to something beyond this world. Stepping into the depths, one can almost feel the boundary between life and death grow thin, as though the ancestors who came before are reaching out, reminding each visitor of the legacy that binds them to this sacred land. To this day, people approach these caves with quiet hearts, leaving small offerings, lighting candles, breathing a prayer. It's as if by doing so, they keep alive the bond that has stretched across centuries, a bond that ties them to Mari, to the earth, and to the mysteries that lie within. The caves stand as guardians of a sacredness that cannot be forgotten, each one a silent witness to the devotion of the people who call this land home. Among the quiet mountains and shadowed forests of the Basque country, there lies a sense of ancient power, a pulse that beats in rhythm with the heart of the land itself. Here, every tree, every peak, every whispering breeze seems to carry the essence of the Basque soul, a connection as old as the mountains themselves. In these places of towering pines and moss-covered stones, it's easy to believe in the presence of deities, like Basajaun, the towering forest guardian, and Mari, the mighty goddess who brings life and storms with equal power. The mountains stretch towards the sky, their rugged forms carved by time, looming over the land with a silent wisdom. They feel alive, as if they are watching, protective and strong. For the Basque people, these mountains are not just geographic features, they are sacred, woven deeply into the spiritual fabric of the culture. Each peak holds its own story, its own spirit, and together they form a boundary between the ordinary and the extraordinary, between human life and the world of the gods. Walking through these mountains is like walking through a world suspended between reality and legend, a world where every shadow, every echo seems to carry a tale from long ago. Among these ancient slopes, the forests grow thick and wild, an unbroken sanctuary where Basajaun, the Lord of the Woods, is said to watch over all living things. Known as the Wild Man or the Hairy One, Basajaun is not a deity of distance or abstraction. He is as earthy and grounded as the forest floor, with roots in both myth and the natural world. To the Basque people, he is a protector, a being who safeguards the animals and plants, maintaining balance in the ecosystem and guarding the knowledge of the forest. In their stories, Basajaun is often a guide, a symbol of harmony between humans and nature, reminding them that they, too, are a part of this great web of life. People say that if you listen closely in the forest, you might catch the distant sound of Basajaun's heavy footsteps, hear his voice carried on the wind, or see his shadow passing between the trees. For those who dare to enter his domain with respect and humility, there is safety, a sense of welcome. But for those who come with ill intent, the forest can feel forbidding, its dark depths growing thicker, its paths twisting in ways that only Basajaun understands. In him, the Basque people see a living spirit of the forest, a creature both fierce and gentle, who holds the balance of life and keeps the secrets of the wild. And then, higher up, amidst the sharp mountain crags and rolling clouds, there is Mari, the great goddess. Mari's presence is felt everywhere, but it's in the high, remote peaks where she is closest to her people, where her energy is most potent. Known as the mother of the Basque deities, Mari is a force of nature itself, embodying creation, fertility, and destruction. The mountains are her realm, her throne, and it's said that she moves from peak to peak, cloaked in storms, bringing rain when the earth needs it and lightning when her wrath is stirred. To see a storm gathering in the mountains is to witness Mari's power, a reminder of her presence that leaves one feeling small and humble before the strength of the natural world. These sacred mountains and forests hold stories in every stone and every leaf that falls to the forest floor. They carry tales of rituals held beneath towering trees, of people who sought blessings from Mari and guidance from Basajaun. For generations, villagers would leave offerings in the hollows of trees, scatter seeds, or pour a small amount of their drink onto the earth as a tribute to these spirits. In these simple acts, they maintained a bond with the deities who watched over them, the guardians who cared for the land as they cared for their people. In the stillness of the mountains, with the vast forests stretching as far as the eye can see, it's easy to feel the presence of something greater, something ancient and powerful that has always been here, watching, listening, and protecting. For the Basque people, this land is sacred, a place where myth and reality come together, and where each tree, each rock, and each mountain holds the memory of their gods. Among the hills and valleys of the Basque country, rivers flow like veins through the landscape, carrying with them stories that have woven themselves into the heart of Basque mythology. Every ripple, every glistening drop, every quiet bend in a river holds whispers of legends passed down through generations. For the Basque people, these waters are far more than just a resource or a natural feature. They are sacred, living forces that embody life, mystery, and purity. Water is not just physical but spiritual, a connection to the divine, a path to renewal, and a link to the spirits who inhabit these waters. In these rivers and springs, there is a sense of magic, an energy that draws people close. The springs, with their pristine and untouched water bubbling from hidden sources deep within the earth, are seen as gifts. They emerge with a kind of reverence, as if each drop has been carefully crafted and sent by spirits residing in the unseen realms. Villagers come to these springs and rivers not only to drink and wash, but to seek something intangible, cleansing for the soul, protection from harm, or blessings for a new endeavor. The connection between water and purity is woven deeply into Basque beliefs, and nowhere is this more powerful than in stories of spirits who guard these waters. Some say the waters are home to mysterious, graceful beings with an otherworldly beauty, Lamias. These river spirits, with their bird-like feet and enchanting presence, are often depicted sitting by the water's edge, brushing their hair with combs made of gold. While they may lure those who trespass without respect, Lamias are also guardians, demanding respect for the sacredness of the water they protect. They are reminders that water is to be cherished, not merely consumed, and that nature's gifts come with responsibilities. The rivers also serve as a meeting place between worlds. There is an old belief that spirits are present wherever rivers wind and flow. Elders would speak of how the spirits of ancestors gathered by the water, finding peace within its rhythmic current. To walk by the river is to walk among them, to feel their presence as they flow with the river, forever part of the landscape they once inhabited. When a river's water rushes with a newfound vigor after rainfall, it is said that the spirits rejoice, breathing new life into the river's soul. Basque mothers would often bring their newborns to the banks of these sacred waters, dipping their hands into the river and letting drops fall onto the baby's forehead. This gentle act was a blessing, a hope for the child to be protected, to grow strong like the river. They believed that the water had the power to ward off evil, to keep sickness at bay, and to bind the child's spirit to the land. As the cold water touched the baby's skin, it marked them as a part of the Basque land, their soul intertwined with the spirits of rivers and streams. In times of hardship or grief, it said that people would come to these waters alone, often at dawn or dusk, when the world was quiet, and pour out their pain to the river. In a silent ritual, they would speak their troubles to the water, hoping it would carry them away, cleansing their hearts as it washed over stones and carried their burdens downstream. The river, in these moments, became a witness to human sorrow and resilience, holding secrets of loss, love, and hope within its depths. Springs also held special significance as sources of healing. The water from a spring was thought to hold the power to renew not only the body but the spirit. When someone fell ill, a loved one might go to the spring and gather water in a small vessel, carrying it home with great care. With prayers for recovery, they would sprinkle this water around the ailing person, believing that it held the strength to mend broken bodies and weary souls. Many springs, known for their purity, were visited by those seeking healing, and people would travel long distances to drink from waters blessed by nature itself. Rivers and springs were seen as connectors of time as well, linking the present to an ancient past. People believed that the water flowing today was the same that had flowed for centuries, that had known the footsteps of their ancestors, that had carried the stories of past generations. To touch the river was to touch something timeless, something that had been and would continue to be, long after individual lives had come and gone. The water, moving but never ending, held memories that were older than words, older even than the mountains that stood watch over it. When twilight falls over the Basque landscape and the river's surface glows under the soft light of the setting sun, the water seems to hold a heartbeat, a pulse that connects the earth to the heavens. The breeze picks up, and the sound of the river grows louder, as though it, too, is breathing. It's in these quiet moments that one feels the river's spirit most strongly. Here, in the sacred silence, it's easy to understand why the Basque people revere water as a force of life and spirit, as a part of the divine that is close enough to touch. Standing among the ancient stones of the Basque countryside, one can't help but feel the weight of history. These monumental structures, known as dolmens and megaliths, rise like guardians of the past, silent witnesses to a time long gone yet still resonant in the stories whispered by the wind. Each stone is a testament to the lives of those who came before, people who worked tirelessly to create these incredible sights, drawing strength and inspiration from the land and its mystical beings, like the Marowak. The dolmens, with their massive flat stones perched atop towering pillars, are more than just burial sites. They are believed to be the very places where the living met the divine. Crafted with painstaking care, these structures are aligned with the stars and seasons, suggesting a deep understanding of the cosmos and its influence on earthly life. Each dolmen carries with it the essence of the earth, reflecting the Basques' connection to nature and their respect for the forces that govern existence. Imagine a time when these stones were not merely remnants of the past, but vibrant centers of life. Families would gather around these ancient structures, celebrating the cycles of nature and the changing of seasons. They would light fires, share stories, and invoke the Marowak, the mythical beings believed to have shaped the land and built the very dolmens they gathered around. It was said that the Marowak were not just builders, they were protectors of the land, ensuring that the spirits of the ancestors found peace and that the living were blessed. There's an air of magic surrounding these megalithic structures. As the sun sets and casts long shadows across the fields, the stones seem to awaken, their surfaces glowing softly in the fading light. Children would dare each other to touch the cool, rough surfaces of the dolmens, convinced that the spirits of the Marowak still lingered, guarding their sacred ground. In the stories told by the firelight, it was believed that those who showed respect to these stones would find favor with the Marowak, while those who did not might suffer the consequences of their carelessness. The mysteries surrounding these ancient structures add to their allure. Archaeologists and historians continue to study them, searching for clues about the lives and beliefs of the Basque people. Some dolmens contain burial chambers, where the remains of the dead were laid to rest. This practice reflects a profound understanding of life and death, where the connection to the earth did not end with death, but rather transformed into something eternal. The idea that the Marowak guided the souls of the departed into the afterlife adds another layer of depth to the significance of these sites. Each dolmen tells a story, but the language of stone can be elusive. Some researchers theorize that these structures were not merely tombs, but places of ritual, where ceremonies were held to honor the spirits of the land. In a time when the mysteries of life were intertwined with nature, these rituals were a way to acknowledge the cycles of birth, growth, decay, and rebirth. It is said that during the equinoxes, the first light would shine through the entrance of certain dolmens, illuminating the burial chambers and creating a moment of sacred connection between the earth and the sky. As night falls, the stars come alive overhead, painting the sky with ancient constellations. The Basques look to the stars for guidance, seeing them as the eyes of their ancestors watching over them. The dolmens, standing strong against the passage of time, were often aligned with these celestial bodies, creating a bridge between the earth and the heavens. Families would gather at the stones, sharing stories of their forebears and paying homage to the Marowak, who were believed to guide the stars across the night sky. The magic of these stones lies not only in their grandeur but also in their simplicity. They embody a deep reverence for nature, a respect for the cycles of life that resonates through the generations. The Basque people viewed these structures as living entities, breathing in the stories of the past while remaining guardians of the present. Each visit to a dolmen was a reminder of one's roots, a connection to the ancestors who once walked the same paths, celebrating life and honoring the earth. Local legends speak of the Marowak as not only builders of these dolmens, but also as wise teachers. They imparted knowledge about farming, healing, and living in harmony with nature. Communities would gather to listen to the tales shared by the elders, stories of the Marowak who roamed the hills and valleys, imparting wisdom to those who showed them respect. The presence of these ancient beings lingered in the air, shaping a culture that cherished its heritage and believed in the power of the land. Visiting these sites today evokes a sense of wonder and nostalgia. Standing among the dolmens, one can almost hear the laughter of children playing nearby, feel the warmth of communal fires, and sense the weight of prayers offered to the Marowak. The stones serve as a reminder of the bond between humanity and the earth, the enduring connection that transcends time and space. In every crevice and shadow, the spirit of the Marowak lives on, whispering secrets of the past to those who choose to listen. As the sun sets and darkness blankets the land, the dolmens stand resilient, a testament to the strength of the Basque people and their beliefs. They are more than just stones, they are symbols of hope, legacy, and the unbreakable bond between the living and the spirits of the earth. In every corner of this mystical landscape, the ancient echoes of the Marowak can still be felt, reminding us of a time when the earth was sacred, and the stories of our ancestors shaped the world we know today. High above the rolling hills and lush valleys of the Basque country stands a majestic mountain, Oriamendi. Its peak reaches toward the heavens, cloaked in mist and legend. This mountain is not just a geological feature, it is a powerful symbol of the struggle between ancient beliefs and the new faith brought by the winds of change. The tale of Oriamendi is intertwined with the giants known as the Jentilak, colossal beings who once roamed the land, embodying the spirit of the mountains and forests. Their story is one of strength, resilience, and a heartbreaking farewell to a world that was fading away. Long ago, the Jentilak lived in harmony with nature, their laughter echoing through the valleys. These giants were guardians of the earth, protectors of the forests, and keepers of ancient wisdom. They were said to have built the great dolmens and megaliths scattered across the land, places where the spirits of the ancestors could find peace. The Basques honored the Jentilak, offering them gifts of food and flowers, believing that as long as the giants were revered, the balance between humanity and nature would be preserved. But as the winds shifted, so did the fate of the Jentilak. The arrival of Christianity brought with it new beliefs and values, challenging the old ways of life. The giants, once celebrated and adored, became viewed with fear and suspicion. Their connection to the earth, their gentle spirits, and their ancient traditions were overshadowed by the teachings of the new faith. The Jentilak, who had once danced under the moonlight with the Basques, found themselves standing on the precipice of extinction. Oriamendi became the last refuge for these mighty beings. As the darkness of doubt crept over the land, the giants gathered atop the mountain, looking out over the valleys they had once roamed freely. Their hearts were heavy with sadness, knowing that their time was running out. It was here, on this sacred mountain, that they would make their final stand against the encroaching tide of change. As the sun set behind the peaks, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, the Jentilak came together for one last celebration. They lit bonfires that flickered like stars against the night, and their voices rose in a haunting melody that resonated through the valleys. The song spoke of love for the land, of the forests and rivers, and of the kinship they shared with the people of the Basque country. In their hearts, they held on to the hope that the Basques would remember the lessons of the past and keep their spirits alive. But the new faith was relentless. As dawn broke, the priests arrived at the foot of Oriamindi, armed with symbols of their religion and words that sought to banish the old beliefs. They climbed the mountain, determined to confront the giants who stood in the way of their mission. The Jentilak stood tall, their hearts pounding like thunder, knowing that this would be a battle not of strength, but of conviction and spirit. The giants, with their powerful frames and gentle hearts, faced the priests with a mixture of sadness and defiance. They did not wish for conflict, they only wanted to be remembered, to remain part of the land they had nurtured. As the priests raised their voices, declaring their faith and the rejection of the old ways, the Jentilak responded not with anger, but with a poignant song that echoed through the valley, a final farewell to the world they had known. Tears mingled with the dew on the grass as the giants sang of their love for the Basques and the beauty of their shared existence. They sang of the mountains, the rivers, and the trees, of the laughter and stories shared around the fires, and of the respect that once bound them together. The Jentilak's voices were a reminder of the deep connection between the land and its people, a connection that transcended time and belief. In that moment, something extraordinary happened. The wind shifted, carrying the voices of the giants down the mountainside, enveloping the priests in a wave of emotion. They could feel the weight of history, the love of the land, and the sorrow of the giants as they sang. For a brief moment, doubt flickered in the hearts of those who had come to banish the old ways. They felt the power of the ancient spirits that had shaped the Basque identity. But the tides of change were strong, and the priests were resolute. They pressed forward, determined to claim Oriamindi for their faith. With every chant and incantation, the mountains seemed to tremble, and the Jentilak felt the ground beneath them shake. They knew their time was running out, and they made one final vow to the land they loved. They would not fade away without leaving a mark, a reminder of their existence. As the sun reached its zenith, casting bright light over Oriamindi, the Jentilak summoned the last of their strength. They raised their hands to the sky, calling upon the spirits of the land to remember them. With one final, powerful song that echoed through the valleys, they transformed into the very stones and mountains they had protected. Their spirits merged with the earth, forever part of the landscape they had loved so deeply. Oriamindi stood tall, a silent testament to the giants' sacrifice. The priests, witnessing this profound transformation, felt the weight of their actions. They had come to conquer, but instead found themselves humbled by the love and spirit of the Jentilak. The stories of the giants would not vanish, they would remain alive in the mountains, the forests, and the hearts of the Basque people. As the years passed, the tale of Oriamindi and the Jentilak became legend. Families would gather around fires, sharing stories of the giants who once roamed the earth, reminding their children of the importance of honoring nature and respecting the spirits of the past. Though the giants had transformed into stone, their spirit lived on in the hearts of those who remembered. Standing before Oriamindi today, one can still feel the echoes of the giant's song in the rustle of the leaves and the whisper of the wind. The mountain remains the sacred space, a reminder of a time when giants walked among us, embodying the strength and wisdom of the land. The story of the Jentilak is not just a tale of loss, but a testament to the enduring power of memory, love, and the spirit of nature that connects us all. The sun hung high in the Basque sky, casting a golden light over the fields. Farmers worked tirelessly, tending to their crops with hope in their hearts. Yet, as the days turned into weeks without a drop of rain, that hope began to wane. The soil cracked under the relentless sun, and the plants struggled to survive. In times like these, the farmers knew they needed more than hard work, they needed the blessing of Mari, the rain goddess, the one who held the power to bring life-giving water to their parched land. The connection between Mari and the weather was woven deeply into the fabric of Basque culture. It was said that Mari resided on the mountains, often seen amidst the clouds, her presence felt in the gentle breeze that rustled through the leaves. The farmers understood that invoking her was not just a plea for rain, it was an act of reverence for the earth and a recognition of the delicate balance between nature and humanity. One summer, the sun blazed fiercely, and the fields turned a dusty brown. The farmers gathered in a small village at the foot of Mboto, a majestic mountain that rose sharply against the sky. They shared their worries, voices trembling with desperation as they spoke of the drought. Children played nearby, their laughter a bittersweet reminder of the life that thrived when the rains came. The elders knew what had to be done. It was time to call upon Mari. With a mixture of hope and trepidation, the villagers decided to organize a ritual. They gathered herbs and flowers, creating a colorful offering for Mari. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, the villagers made their way to a sacred site on the mountainside. This was a place where Mari had been honored for generations, where the air felt charged with her presence. The farmers set up a simple altar adorned with their offerings. Candles flickered in the fading light, casting a warm glow around them. They joined hands in a circle, their hearts beating as one. With each passing moment, the weight of their hopes pressed down upon them. They spoke of the earth, of the crops that needed nourishment, of families that relied on the harvest for survival. They called out to Mari, asking for her mercy, her blessings, her rain. As their voices rose in prayer, a hush fell over the mountain. The wind picked up, rustling the leaves of the trees and swirling around them. The villagers felt a shiver of anticipation. Suddenly, dark clouds began to gather, creeping across the horizon. A murmur of excitement rippled through the group. Was it possible? Had Mari heard their cries? Then, as if responding to their pleas, the first raindrop fell, hitting the dusty ground with a soft thud. It was followed by another, and another, until the air was filled with the sound of rain falling, a gentle rhythm that washed over the earth like a sweet lullaby. The farmers looked at each other in disbelief, tears of joy streaming down their faces. They had felt Mari's presence, she had answered them. The rain grew stronger, pouring down in a steady stream. The earth drank it greedily, soaking it up as if it had been longing for this moment. The farmers danced in the rain, laughter echoing through the valley, their hearts filled with gratitude. They twirled under the downpour, celebrating the life that was returning to their land. It was a sight to behold, men, women, and children united in a moment of sheer joy, honoring the goddess who had brought them hope. In that sacred space on the mountain, the villagers felt the weight of their ancestors surrounding them. They were part of something bigger, a long tradition of honoring the earth and its forces. The rain continued to fall, and with it came a sense of renewal. The crops would thrive once more, and the village would flourish, thanks to the connection they had with Mari. As the storm began to subside, the villagers returned to their homes, the ground beneath their feet transformed into a vibrant green. The skies cleared, revealing a brilliant blue overhead. The sun broke through the clouds, illuminating the world with its golden rays. It was as if Mari had painted a masterpiece in the sky, a reminder of her grace and power. The days that followed were filled with hope and prosperity. The fields burst into life, flowers blooming in a riot of colors. The farmers worked with joy, knowing that their prayers had been answered. Children played in the fields, chasing rainbows that danced across the sky, symbols of the blessings they had received. Yet, as the villagers reveled in their good fortune, they understood that this connection with Mari was not one-sided. It was a bond built on respect, trust, and love. They continued to honor her, leaving offerings at the foot of Mboto and sharing stories of her kindness with future generations. Each season, they would hold rituals to thank her for the rain and to ask for her guidance, knowing that the earth was a living entity that deserved their reverence. Mari became more than just a figure in their mythology, she was a part of their everyday lives. The farmers shared tales of her wisdom, teaching their children about the importance of caring for the land and recognizing the rhythms of nature. They understood that their well-being was tied to the earth's health, and Mari was the embodiment of that connection. The story of the Rainmaker of Mboto grew, becoming a cherished part of their cultural heritage. Villagers would gather around fires, sharing tales of that magical day when the rain fell after a long drought, and how their faith in Mari had brought them together as a community. The echoes of their laughter and gratitude filled the air, intertwining with the gentle sounds of nature. As seasons changed, the mountain stood tall, a sentinel watching over the land. Each rainstorm was a reminder of the promise that Mari had kept, the blessings that flowed from her grace. And each time the farmers tilled the soil and sowed their seeds, they remembered the sacred bond they shared with the goddess who ruled the skies. In the heart of the Basque country, the spirit of Mari lived on, woven into the very fabric of their existence. Through her, they learned the value of patience, the importance of gratitude, and the deep connection between humanity and nature. The story of the Rainmaker of Mboto became a testament to the enduring power of hope, a celebration of life, and a reminder that even in the darkest of times, the call for help could lead to the most beautiful answers. In the heart of the Basque country, when the sky darkened and the winds began to howl, whispers of an ancient story filled the air. This was no ordinary storm. It was the arrival of Sugar, the dragon serpent, descending from the heavens. As he swooped down, he brought with him the thunder and lightning, signaling the shift in seasons and the promise of rain. Villagers looked to the skies with a mix of fear and awe, for they knew that Sugar's descent was both a blessing and a warning. Sugar was not just a creature of myth, he was a powerful force of nature, embodying the raw energy of storms. His scales shimmered like the darkest clouds, and his eyes glowed like distant stars. When he roared, it echoed across the valleys, shaking the ground beneath the feet of those who dared to listen. Children would gather at their windows, clutching their mothers' hands, watching with wide eyes as the storm approached. They had heard the tales of Sugar's might and his connection to Mari, the goddess of the earth, and they understood the sacred dance that unfolded in the sky above them. As the first raindrops began to fall, the villagers hurried outside to witness the spectacle. They danced in the rain, laughter mingling with the sound of thunder. Each drop was a reminder of life's cycle, a promise that the earth would flourish once more. Sugar's storms were vital for the land, breathing life into the dry soil, nourishing the crops that fed families. The farmers prayed for his descent, understanding that the thunderstorm would bring not only rain but also the hope of a bountiful harvest. Yet, there was more to Sugar's descent than just the rains. The legend spoke of the changing seasons, of how Sugar marked the passage of time. In spring, his storms would awaken the earth from its slumber, melting away the last remnants of winter. Flowers would bloom, painting the fields with vibrant colors. As summer approached, Sugar's storms became less frequent but more intense, a reminder that the heat of the sun was not to be taken lightly. As summer turned to autumn, the storms would return with a vengeance. The winds howled louder, and the rain fell heavier, washing away the remnants of the old season. Villagers would gather together, sharing stories by the fire, recounting the legends of Sugar. They would speak of how he roamed the heavens, creating storms and controlling the very fabric of their lives. With each tale, they felt a connection to the powerful spirit above, recognizing the delicate balance between fear and reverence. On one particularly stormy night, when the sky was illuminated by flashes of lightning, an elder gathered the children around the flickering fire. The crackling flames danced as he began to tell the story of Sugar's descent. He spoke of how Sugar, longing to connect with the earth, would break through the clouds, showering the world below with his gifts. But with each descent came a price. Sugar was said to be fierce, demanding respect from those who called upon him. The children listened, eyes wide with wonder, as the elder described how Sugar would swirl through the valleys, creating rivers and lakes with his mighty tail. He would shape the land, leaving behind lush greenery and abundant wildlife. But in his wake, he also left storms that could wreak havoc. Thunder rumbled, shaking the ground, a reminder that with great power came great responsibility. One stormy evening, as the wind howled and the rain poured, a young girl named Enoa felt a sense of urgency. She remembered her grandmother's words about the storms and the need to show gratitude to Sugar. She decided to take action. Gathering wildflowers from her garden, she placed them on her windowsill, a humble offering to the Great Spirit above. She whispered a prayer, asking for balance and protection for her family and village. As the storm raged outside, Inoa felt a calming presence in her heart. She knew she had done her part to honor Sugar. With each clap of thunder, she imagined the dragon serpent smiling down upon her, appreciating her gesture. The storm continued to roar, but Inoa felt a sense of peace wash over her. Suddenly, a brilliant flash of lightning illuminated the night sky, and in that moment, the storm paused. The wind hushed, and the rain slowed to a gentle patter. Inoa peered outside, and to her astonishment, a beautiful rainbow stretched across the sky. It was a sign of hope, a reminder that even after the fiercest storms, beauty would always follow. The villagers gathered outside, marveling at the sight before them. They took it as a blessing from Sugar, a sign that he had accepted Inoa's offering and was pleased with their respect for the natural world. The colors of the rainbow intertwined with the lingering raindrops, creating a breathtaking masterpiece in the sky. Laughter erupted, and children danced in the puddles, splashing water and joy all around. As the storms continued to roll in throughout the seasons, the villagers held on to the lessons learned from Sugar's descent. They learned to respect the forces of nature, recognizing that the storms brought not just rain but also the life that sustained them. They celebrated the changing seasons, honoring Sugar with rituals that included offerings of flowers and songs sung to the thunder. In their hearts, they held a deep gratitude for the dragon serpent who controlled the skies. Sugar's storms became a symbol of hope, a reminder that life was a constant cycle of change. Each thunderous roar echoed the message that storms could be fierce, but they were also essential for growth. With every descent, Sugar taught the villagers the importance of balance and harmony with nature. As time passed, the stories of Sugar and his thunderstorms became woven into the very identity of the Basque people. They passed down these tales through generations, each recounting the magic of the storms and the powerful spirit that governed the heavens. The children who once clung to their mothers during thunderstorms grew up to be farmers, artisans, and storytellers, sharing their wisdom and love for the land with their own children. With each new generation, the bond between the people and Sugar remained strong, grounded in respect and gratitude. They understood that storms would come, but so would the rainbows that followed. In the heart of the Basque country, the legend of Sugar's descent continued to inspire, reminding everyone that even in the fiercest of storms, there is always beauty waiting to emerge. In the heart of the Basque country, where the mountains kissed the sky and the rivers whispered ancient secrets, there lived two powerful beings whose love story transcended the heavens and the earth. Mari, the goddess of the earth, with her flowing hair that shimmered like golden wheat, was the embodiment of nature's grace. Sugar, the mighty dragon serpent, descended from the stormy skies, his scales shimmering with the colors of thunder and lightning. Their union was a tale of passion and balance, a story woven into the very fabric of the land. Mari ruled over the earth, nurturing the fields, forests, and rivers. She was the protector of life, guiding plants to grow and flowers to bloom. The animals of the forest loved her, and the farmers prayed to her for a bountiful harvest. In every leaf that unfurled and every seed that sprouted, her love was felt. But Mari was also a force of nature, fierce and wild, with a heart that craved something more than the earth could offer. Sugar, on the other hand, ruled the skies. He was the storm itself, a creature of power and mystery. When he roared, the very mountains trembled, and the skies darkened. But beneath his fierce exterior lay a gentle spirit, longing for connection and understanding. Sugar watched Mari from above, captivated by her beauty and strength. He admired how she brought life to the world, how she nurtured every creature that roamed the earth. Their love was not easy. Mari was bound to her realm, while Sugar roamed the skies, his heart yearning for her. The distance between them was vast, filled with storms and clouds that seemed to keep them apart. But love knows no boundaries, and the sky and earth could not stop what fate had woven together. One stormy night, as thunder rolled across the hills, Sugar made his descent, breaking through the clouds to find Mari. When Mari felt the first raindrops on her skin, she looked up, her heart racing. The air crackled with electricity, and she knew he was coming. Sugar appeared, his powerful wings creating a whirlwind around them. As he landed, the ground shook, and Mari felt a rush of energy that filled her with life. It was a moment of connection, a meeting of two worlds, earth and sky, nurturing and power. In the glow of the storm, their eyes met, and time stood still. Sugar leaned in closer, his breath warm and electric. "Mari," he whispered, his voice a soft rumble like distant thunder. "I have watched you from above, and I have fallen in love with the way you nurture the earth. You bring life to everything you touch." Mari smiled, her heart swelling with joy. "And you, Sugar, are the storm that gives life to my fields. Your rain nourishes the crops, and your lightning brings energy to the world. Together, we create balance." As the storm swirled around them, they shared stories of their lives. Mari spoke of the flowers that bloomed in spring, of the animals that played in the meadows, and the joy of watching the world come alive. Sugar shared tales of the skies, of how he danced among the clouds and shaped the storms that would quench the thirst of the earth. Their love blossomed like the flowers in Mari's fields, vibrant and full of life. They spent many nights together, Sugar creating storms to bring rain while Mari nurtured the earth with warmth and sunlight. Their union was celebrated by the creatures of the land, who thrived under the blessings of both earth and sky. But as time went on, challenges began to arise. Sugar's fierce storms sometimes wreaked havoc on Mari's delicate plants. While he sought to bring nourishment, his power could also bring destruction. Mari, in turn, felt the weight of responsibility for the land, always striving to maintain balance. Their love story was tested as they navigated the complexities of their strengths and weaknesses. One fateful day, after a particularly fierce storm, Mari surveyed the land. Though the rain had brought life, it had also caused floods, damaging the fields she worked so hard to nurture. With a heavy heart, she called out to Sugar, her voice echoing through the valleys. "Sugar, your storms are powerful, but they can be too much for the earth to bear. We must find a way to work together." Sugar, who had been watching the devastation from above, felt a pang of regret. He had never intended to harm the land he loved. "Mari," he replied, his voice filled with remorse. "I only wanted to bring life, but I see now that my strength can be overwhelming. I will learn to temper my storms, to bring rain gently, as you do." And so, they began to work together, finding a way to balance their powers. Sugar learned to create soft rain showers, allowing the earth to absorb the water without overwhelming it. Mari, in turn, learned to harness the energy of the storms to invigorate her plants, encouraging them to grow stronger in the face of the elements. Together, they created a rhythm, a dance of love and power that resonated throughout the Basque country. The villagers noticed the changes as well. They celebrated the gentle rains that fell, nourishing their fields without causing destruction. They honored both Mari and Sugar in their prayers, recognizing the beauty of their union. Festivals were held in their name, where people would dance under the soft rain, sharing stories of love, balance, and the power of nature. As the years passed, Mari and Sugar's love deepened, rooted in mutual respect and understanding. They became symbols of the harmony that could be found in nature, teaching the people that true strength lies not in dominance, but in the ability to listen and adapt. The land flourished under their guidance, and the villagers thrived, knowing they were blessed by the union of earth and sky. Their story became a beloved legend, passed down through generations. Children would sit by the fire, listening to tales of Mari and Sugar, their hearts filled with dreams of love that could conquer any obstacle. The lessons of balance and understanding echoed through the hearts of the Basque people, reminding them of the importance of working together. And so, in the heart of the Basque country, the love story of Mari and Sugar lived on, a powerful reminder of the connection between earth and sky, the beauty of balance, and the magic that can happen when two powerful forces unite in love. In every storm that passed and every blossom that bloomed, their love continued to inspire, teaching all who heard their tale that true harmony lies in the dance of opposites. In the heart of the Basque countryside, where the mountains loom and the valleys weave their stories, there exists a world of playful mischief and unexpected twists. Here, in the quiet corners of everyday life, the Txantxangorri, small and elusive trickster spirits, come to life. With their bright red hats and playful nature, they flutter between the shadows and the light, weaving chaos and laughter in their wake. They embody a spirit of fun, reminding us that not all beings take life so seriously. One cool autumn evening, a farmer named Inigo returned home after a long day in the fields. As he entered his humble cottage, he noticed something strange. His favorite chair was turned upside down, and a trail of corn kernels led from the door to the fireplace. Confused, he scratched his head, wondering how such a mess could have happened. He felt a slight chill in the air, not from the autumn breeze, but from a sense of mischief that danced around him. As he followed the trail of kernels, Inigo suddenly heard giggles echoing from the corners of his home. They were soft but unmistakable. Heart racing, he turned toward the sound, and there they were, the Txantxangorri, small figures darting around like fireflies. Their eyes sparkled with delight, and their laughter rang like tiny bells. These spirits, known for their tricky antics, had come to play. "I see you, you little troublemakers," Inigo exclaimed, half annoyed, half amused. "What have you done to my home?" The Txantxangorri responded with more giggles, one of them poking its head out from behind a pot. "We just wanted to make your evening a bit more fun," it chirped, winking mischievously. "Life is too serious, you know. You need a little excitement." Inigo couldn't help but smile despite himself. He knew the tales of these spirits, how they could create chaos but also spread joy. Just last week, his neighbor had complained about finding his shoes hidden in the barn, and his crops had been mysteriously rearranged overnight. "What do you want from me?" Inigo asked, now more curious than angry. One of the Txantxangorri floated forward, its small stature almost glowing with energy. "We want to play a game. If you can find us all before the moon rises, we will leave your home and promise not to return for a whole year." With a spark of determination, Inigo accepted the challenge. He had heard stories of others who had tried to catch these mischievous spirits, and many had failed. But there was something in the air that night, a sense of fun and lightness. "All right then. Let the game begin." The Txantxangorri scattered like leaves in the wind, their laughter echoing through the cottage. Inigo dashed after them, searching behind curtains, under tables, and even in the old chest in the corner. Each time he thought he had found one, they would dart away, their giggles trailing behind them. The clock ticked away, and the moon began to rise. Inigo was starting to feel the weight of the game, his heart racing as he searched. Suddenly, he heard a tiny voice from above. "Looking for us? You won't find us there." He looked up to see a Txantxangorri perched on the ceiling beam, its eyes sparkling with mischief. In that moment, he realized that the true spirit of these beings was not just about trickery, but also about the joy of life. They wanted to remind him to embrace laughter, to enjoy the little moments, even in the midst of chaos. Inigo took a deep breath, letting the tension melt away. Instead of chasing, he decided to play along with their antics. "I won't catch you," he called out with a laugh, "but I'll join you in your game." With that, he danced around the room, moving as if he were a part of their playful world. He twirled and spun, making exaggerated movements that made the Txantxangorri burst into fits of laughter. They fluttered around him, delighting in the shared joy of the moment. Time passed, and the moon rose high in the sky, casting a soft glow through the windows. Inigo's heart felt lighter, filled with laughter and warmth. Though he hadn't caught the Txantxangorri, he had discovered something far more valuable, a connection to the spirit of joy and mischief that they embodied. As the moonlight filled the room, the Txantxangorri hovered close to Inigo, their faces beaming with happiness. "You've embraced the spirit of fun," one of them exclaimed. "You've made us laugh, and that's what matters most." Feeling a sense of triumph, Inigo smiled. "I may not have caught you, but you've reminded me how important it is to enjoy life, to find joy in the little things." With a flurry of giggles, the Txantxangorri began to fade away, their tiny forms glowing like embers in the night. "We'll be back again when you least expect it," they called out as they vanished into the shadows. "Keep your heart light, Inigo." As the last echoes of their laughter faded into the night, Inigo felt a warmth envelop him. The mischief of the Txantxangorri had brought him more than just chaos, it had rekindled a sense of playfulness he thought he had lost. From that day forward, he approached life with a newfound lightness, cherishing the moments of laughter, even amidst the mundane. The tales of the Txantxangorri spread through the village, their mischievous deeds becoming part of the rich tapestry of Basque folklore. Parents told their children stories of these spirits, warning them to keep their rooms tidy and their shoes in place, lest they fall victim to the Txantxangorri's playful tricks. But more than that, they shared the message of finding joy in everyday life. Every now and then, when the sun set behind the mountains and the sky was painted with hues of orange and pink, Inigo would hear the soft giggles of the Txantxangorri in the breeze. He knew they were nearby, watching and waiting for the perfect moment to play. Instead of fear or annoyance, he felt gratitude. He had learned to appreciate the laughter and lightness they brought to the world. The Txantxangorri became a beloved part of the Basque culture, their tales of mischief reminding everyone to embrace the playful spirit of life. Their stories taught that while life can be serious and filled with challenges, there is always room for joy and laughter. These tiny spirits, full of energy and mischief, served as a reminder to all that a little fun can go a long way. As the sun begins to set, painting the Basque hills with shades of gold and crimson, the air fills with a palpable sense of excitement. Streets come alive with laughter and music, drawing families and friends together. Every year, in towns and villages across the Basque country, festivals rooted in ancient myths celebrate the spirit of community, honoring traditions that have been passed down through generations. These festivals are not just celebrations, they are a heartfelt connection to the past, weaving the rich tapestry of Basque culture into the present. One of the most beloved festivals is the Feast of San Juan, a night that holds a special place in the hearts of the Basque people. This celebration marks the summer solstice, a time when the days are long and the warmth of the sun embraces all living things. As twilight falls, bonfires spring to life, flickering flames dancing against the darkening sky. Families gather around these fires, sharing stories and laughter, the warmth enveloping them like a cherished blanket. In the flickering light, tales of ancient times come alive. The Feast of San Juan has deep roots in the traditions of the Basque people, intertwined with the mythology of Mari, the goddess of nature, and Sugar, the thunder god. It is said that on this night, Mari blesses the harvest, ensuring a bountiful crop for the year ahead. People sing songs of gratitude, thanking her for her blessings while casting flowers into the fire, believing that these offerings will carry their wishes to the heavens. As the bonfires crackle and pop, the sounds of celebration echo through the valleys. Children run around, their faces painted with bright colors, and laughter fills the air. The festival is alive with the spirit of joy, a reminder of the simple pleasures in life. Old and young alike come together to dance, their movements mirroring the flickering flames. With every twirl, they celebrate the connection to their ancestors, feeling their presence in the very air they breathe. In another corner of the Basque country, the festival of Asnaguja in Bilbao takes center stage, drawing crowds from near and far. The vibrant colors of the festival reflect the spirit of the Basque people, bold and full of life. As the sun shines brightly, the streets transform into a carnival of excitement. Parades march through the town, featuring towering figures representing legendary creatures from Basque folklore. The sounds of drums and trumpets fill the air, creating a rhythm that pulses like a heartbeat. During this festival, stories of the Jentilak, the giants of Basque mythology, are told with enthusiasm. Children gather around storytellers, wide-eyed and captivated, as they hear of the giants who once roamed the mountains, their strength unmatched. With every tale, they learn about bravery, friendship, and the importance of respecting nature. The festival creates a bridge between the past and the present, allowing children to embrace the legends that shape their culture. The connection to the natural world is evident in the festival of Asnaguja. Locals prepare traditional dishes, incorporating ingredients that celebrate the land, the fresh vegetables, fish, and meats that are staples of Basque cuisine. As families gather to share meals, the act of cooking becomes a ritual, honoring the earth that provides for them. Every bite is a taste of history, a reminder of the bond between the people and their land. As night falls, the sky becomes a canvas for fireworks, lighting up the darkness with brilliant colors. The explosions create a sense of wonder, a spectacle that takes everyone's breath away. In this moment, the past and present unite, and the stories of their ancestors resonate in the hearts of the crowd. The night is filled with a sense of belonging, as families embrace, friends laugh, and the spirit of the Basque culture shines bright. Each festival is a reflection of the Basque people's deep respect for nature and their rich mythology. The Festival of the Virgin of Loreto celebrates the patron saint of fishermen and sailors, emphasizing the connection between the Basque people and the sea. Fishermen bring offerings of their catch, blessing the waters and honoring the spirits that guide them. In this ritual, the ocean is not just a body of water, it becomes a sacred space, a living entity that demands respect and reverence. As the festivals unfold, the Basque people share their traditions, stories, and songs with each other, creating a sense of unity that transcends generations. Elders pass down the wisdom of their ancestors, teaching the younger generation the importance of their cultural heritage. They gather around bonfires, their faces illuminated by the flames, and share stories of old, tales of courage, love, and the deep connection to the land. In the quiet moments of these celebrations, when the laughter fades and the music softens, one can feel the spirit of the ancestors lingering in the air. It is a gentle reminder that these festivals are not just about revelry, they are a way of honoring the past and keeping the flame of tradition alive. The Basque people understand that their culture is a living, breathing entity, and they cherish every opportunity to celebrate it. As the final bonfire burns low and the last notes of music fade away, the memories of these festivals linger in the hearts of all who participated. The sense of joy and connection will carry on, echoing through the valleys and mountains of the Basque country. These festivals, rooted in myth, are a testament to the resilience and vibrancy of the Basque spirit. They remind everyone of the importance of celebrating life, of honoring the past, and of embracing the stories that bind them together. With each passing year, the Feast of San Juan, Asnaguja, and the other festivals continue to thrive, a beautiful dance between the old and the new. The spirit of the Basque people shines brightly, illuminating the path forward while honoring the rich tapestry of their culture. As long as the fires burn and the stories are told, the legends of the Basque country will remain alive, weaving their magic through the hearts of generations to come. In the heart of the Basque country, where rolling hills kiss the sky and fields stretch like green carpets, the rhythm of life is woven into the very fabric of nature. Each season brings its own magic, and with it, the people celebrate the cycle of life through age-old rites and rituals. As spring awakens the earth from its slumber, farmers prepare to honor Eki, the sun goddess, and Ilargi, the moon goddess, whose gentle guidance helps nurture the land. As the first rays of sunlight warm the soil, a palpable excitement fills the air. The community comes together, their hands eager to work the earth, planting seeds that will one day yield a bountiful harvest. They know that each seed holds a promise, a connection to the divine, and their faith is rooted in generations of wisdom. The farmers gather in a circle, heads bowed and hearts open, offering a prayer to Eki, thanking her for the sunlight that nourishes their crops. They pour their hopes into the soil, believing that the sun's warmth will bless their fields and bring life to their endeavors. As the sun climbs higher, the beauty of the moment swells. Children run through the fields, laughter ringing out like music, their joy a testament to the happiness that the land brings. They chase butterflies and pick wildflowers, their small hands weaving crowns of blooms that they proudly wear. This is a time of innocence, of purity, when the world feels full of possibility. In these moments, the connection to nature feels so alive, as if the earth itself is breathing along with them. With the arrival of summer, the days grow longer, and the heat of the sun intensifies. The people gather again, this time to honor Ilargi, the moon goddess. As night falls and the moon rises, casting a silver glow over the landscape, a sense of reverence fills the air. The farmers set up a communal feast beneath the stars, sharing the fruits of their labor with family and friends. They tell stories of Ilargi, whose gentle light protects the crops at night, and they sing songs that have been passed down through generations, echoing the beliefs of their ancestors. During this celebration, the elders recall the ancient tales of how Ilargi dances across the sky, illuminating the earth and guiding the farmers through the night. They remind the young ones of the importance of respecting the land, of listening to its whispers, and of the balance between work and rest. The night is filled with laughter and song, and as the stars twinkle above, it feels as if the heavens themselves are celebrating alongside them. As the summer months fade into the vibrant hues of autumn, the air becomes crisp, and the first hints of change stir in the breeze. The harvest is upon them, and gratitude fills the hearts of the Basque people. They prepare for a grand celebration, a festival of thanks for the abundance that Eki and Ilargi have provided. With baskets overflowing with fruits, vegetables, and grains, the community gathers to share their bounty, creating a feast that reflects their deep connection to the land. They dance around bonfires, the flames crackling and popping like the joyous laughter that surrounds them. Each dance step is a celebration of life, each beat of the drum echoing the heartbeat of the earth. In this moment, they feel one with nature, aware of their place within the larger cycle of existence. The moon rises high in the sky, casting a magical glow on the festivities, and the people know that Ilargi watches over them, blessing their celebration. As winter approaches, the landscape transforms, blanketed in a soft layer of white. The earth rests, preparing for the cycle to begin anew. The Basque people gather once more, this time to honor the stillness of the season. They light candles and place them in their windows, symbols of hope and warmth in the cold darkness. They tell stories of the land during the long winter nights, weaving the threads of myth and memory into the fabric of their everyday lives. In these moments of reflection, they understand the significance of the seasonal rites. Each celebration is not merely a tradition, it is a reminder of their deep connection to Eki and Ilargi, to the earth that nurtures them, and to the cycles of nature that govern their lives. The elders share their wisdom, passing down stories of the past to ensure that the younger generations never forget the importance of living in harmony with the land. As spring returns, the cycle begins again, and the people eagerly anticipate the warmth of the sun and the light of the moon. They stand in the fields, hands touching the earth, feeling its pulse beneath their fingertips. They plant their seeds with care, their hearts full of hope, trusting that Eki and Ilargi will guide them through another year. The connection to the deities and to nature is woven into their very being, a bond that transcends time and space. In the Basque country, the seasonal rites are more than just rituals, they are a way of life. Each celebration brings the community closer together, reminding them of their shared history and the importance of nurturing the land. Through these connections, they find strength, comfort, and a profound sense of belonging. The whispers of Eki and Ilargi echo in the fields and the forests, and the laughter of children and the wisdom of elders, ensuring that the cycle of life continues, bright and full of promise. In the quiet corners of the Basque country, where ancient forests whisper secrets and mountains stand guard over time, a world of rituals and beliefs thrives. These traditions, passed down through generations, weave a tapestry of connection between the living and the spirits that inhabit their land. At the heart of this tapestry are the Txantxangorri, the witches of Basque folklore, and the healers who serve as bridges between the seen and the unseen. On misty mornings, as dawn breaks and the world stirs, women gather in small groups, their voices soft yet full of strength. They come together not only to share stories, but to perform rituals that have been practiced for centuries. These rituals are filled with symbolism, each gesture holding deep meaning, reflecting their respect for nature and the energies that flow through it. They prepare herbal remedies, mixing dried flowers and leaves, guided by the wisdom of their ancestors. With every handful of herbs, they feel the connection to the earth, knowing that these plants are not just remedies but gifts from the land. As they gather, the women often speak of the Txantxangorri, who are believed to possess powerful knowledge of healing and magic. These witches are more than just figures of folklore, they embody the mysteries of nature and the strength of women. The Txantxangorri are often depicted as wise and nurturing, possessing an understanding of the natural world that goes beyond ordinary perception. The stories told around the fires at night paint them as protectors of the land, keepers of ancient secrets that can heal wounds and mend hearts. One tale speaks of a Txantxangorri who lived by a rushing river. She was known for her ability to heal the sick, drawing upon the water's energy. Villagers would come from far and wide, carrying their loved ones who were ill or suffering. They would lay them at the riverbank, praying for her to use her magic to restore health. In moments filled with hope, the Sorgina would chant softly, her voice blending with the sound of the flowing water. The air would shimmer with energy, and as she worked, the onlookers could feel a gentle warmth spreading, as if nature itself was responding to her call. While these rituals hold beauty and hope, they also reveal the fears and uncertainties of life. Superstitions are woven into the fabric of daily existence, guiding the choices of the Basque people. They believe that the spirits of the past walk among them, watching and influencing their lives. To honor these spirits, rituals are performed, invoking protection and guidance. When a storm brews on the horizon, families gather, lighting candles and offering small tokens to the wind, hoping to appease the unseen forces. One particular superstition warns against stepping over a child, as it is believed that doing so will cause them to grow up to be a thief. Parents, full of love and concern, take care to avoid such missteps, passing this belief to their children with a gentle reminder that every action holds power. In the Basque heart, each superstition is a thread in the fabric of their reality, a way to navigate life's uncertainties and preserve harmony within their community. The role of healers is crucial in this dance between the natural and the supernatural. These healers, often women, are respected figures in the community, sought after for their ability to treat ailments and guide the spirits of the departed. When someone falls ill, it is not uncommon for families to consult a healer, hoping to harness the healing power of nature and the wisdom of the Sorginac. The healer's hands are gentle yet firm, their touch often accompanied by soft incantations that resonate with the rhythms of the earth. In one village, there is a healer known for her ability to treat wounds with a mixture of herbs and honey. When children scrape their knees or adults suffer from aches, they come to her with fear and hope intertwined. She welcomes them into her small, humble home filled with the scent of dried herbs hanging from the rafters. As she prepares her remedies, her movements are rhythmic, a dance of care and intention. The stories of her healing work spread like wildfire, igniting a sense of community and trust. She embodies the spirit of the Sorginac, showcasing the profound connection between healing and witchcraft. Even amidst the beauty of these rituals, there are darker echoes of history. The witch hunts that swept through Europe left scars on the Basque people, creating an atmosphere of fear and suspicion. Innocent women, labeled as witches, were persecuted, their practices misunderstood. Families were torn apart, and the sacred rituals that connected them to their past were forced into the shadows. The legacy of this pain lingers in the hearts of many, and while the Sorginac are celebrated, there is also a quiet understanding of the fragility of their existence. Today, as the sun sets over the Basque hills, casting a warm golden light, the people gather once more to honor their traditions. They light candles and share stories, celebrating the resilience of their culture. The Sorginac are no longer feared but revered, seen as guardians of knowledge and nature's balance. They embody the strength of their ancestors, reminding the community of the importance of connection, healing, and respect for the earth. The rituals, superstitions, and practices of the Basque people serve as a powerful reminder of their enduring spirit. They are woven together like threads in a tapestry, creating a vibrant picture of life filled with love, fear, hope, and healing. In every herb gathered, every incantation whispered, and every superstition observed, the people honor the past while nurturing the future. The Sorginac and the healers stand as symbols of strength and resilience, guiding them through life's uncertainties, with their hearts forever tied to the land and its ancient mysteries. In the heart of the Basque country, where mountains rise majestically and rivers whisper tales of ancient times, a battle raged between the old ways and new beliefs. As Christianity began to spread across Europe, it cast a long shadow over the rich tapestry of Basque mythology, forcing ancient deities and spirits into hiding. This clash was not just a change in belief, it was a cultural upheaval that left scars on the land and its people. The arrival of Christianity brought with it a promise of salvation, a comforting balm for the soul seeking hope in a chaotic world. But this new faith also labeled the old ways as heresy. The vibrant stories of the Basque deities, once celebrated in songs and rituals, were now seen as dangerous remnants of a past that needed to be eradicated. The gentle whispers of Mari, the earth goddess, who watched over the people, and Basajaun, the hairy guardian of the forests, became echoes in a fading world. Their significance diminished as the church imposed its teachings, creating a chasm between the sacred and the profane. As churches rose in the valleys, adorned with stained glass that depicted scenes of saints and angels, the once thriving rituals of the Basque people began to fade. The sacred spaces of the mountains and forests, once filled with offerings and prayers, were transformed into sites of fear. The community, deeply tied to the land and its spirits, faced a dilemma. They were torn between their ancestral beliefs and the new faith that promised eternal life. Many found themselves whispering prayers to both Mari and Christ, trying to keep the fragile thread of their identity intact. The church's fear of the old beliefs turned into a frenzy of suspicion and persecution. In the late 16th and early 17th centuries, a wave of witch hunts swept through the Basque country, fueled by the belief that those who practiced the old ways were in league with the devil. Innocent women, often healers or wise women known for their knowledge of herbs and nature, were branded as witches. Families were torn apart as accusations flew, and neighbors turned against one another. The air became thick with fear, and the once peaceful villages were engulfed in darkness. Imagine a small village, its cobblestone streets echoing with the laughter of children and the warmth of community. One day, a woman known for her kind heart and healing touch is accused of witchcraft. Panic spreads like wildfire as the villagers gather, their faces painted with uncertainty. The woman, who had helped so many, stands alone, her heart breaking as her friends and neighbors, once filled with gratitude, now look at her with fear in their eyes. The church's voice rings louder than ever, demanding penance and punishment, drowning out the songs of old. As the trials commenced, lives were forever altered. The accused were subjected to cruel interrogations, forced to confess to acts they never committed. The weight of accusation crushed many under its burden, leading them to betray their own beliefs in a desperate attempt to survive. Those who had once celebrated the earth's bounty, honoring the spirits of nature, now faced the gallows, their cries silenced by the relentless march of a new ideology. In this chaotic landscape, the remnants of Basque mythology began to intertwine with Christian beliefs. Figures like Mari transformed into a more benign character, often depicted as a protector rather than a fierce goddess. She was reimagined in the eyes of the people, no longer the powerful earth goddess, but a nurturing figure who aligned with the Virgin Mary. This blending of identities was a survival mechanism, a way for the people to keep a piece of their heritage while conforming to the new faith. The stories of the Txantxangorri, once feared as witches, were softened. They became wise women, healers who used their knowledge for good rather than evil. This transformation of myths did not come without a price. The vibrant rituals that once celebrated the changing seasons, the bounty of the earth, and the connection to the divine faded into obscurity. The fear of being accused stifled the communal practices that had bound the Basque people together. The laughter that filled the air during harvest festivals was replaced by whispers of suspicion, as families worried about what the church would deem acceptable. Yet, even in the darkest hours, the spirit of the Basque people endured. They found ways to keep their traditions alive, albeit in secret. The stories were passed down in hushed tones, children taught to honor the old ways behind closed doors. Those who still believed in the spirits of the mountains and rivers held onto their faith, often performing rituals under the cover of night, reclaiming their connection to the land. The mountain still stood tall, a silent witness to the struggle between light and shadow. As time moved forward, the grip of fear began to loosen, and a gradual acceptance emerged. The stories of the past were not forgotten. Instead, they found new life in a world that began to embrace diversity. The Basque culture, with its rich mythology and deep connection to nature, began to re-emerge from the ashes of the witch trials. The people started to reclaim their identity, celebrating both their Christian faith and their ancestral roots. Today, the Basque country is a tapestry of beliefs, where the old and new coexist. Festivals honoring ancient deities are celebrated alongside Christian holidays. The influence of Christianity remains, yet it dances harmoniously with the echoes of the past. The resilience of the Basque people shines through, a testament to their ability to endure and adapt, preserving the essence of their culture even in the face of adversity. In this intertwining of faiths, the whispers of Mari and Basajaun still linger in the wind. The mountains and rivers hold the stories of those who came before, reminding the people of their strength and connection to the land. Though the trials and tribulations left scars, the Basque spirit continues to rise, a beautiful blend of history, mythology, and the unbreakable bond between humanity and nature. In the heart of the Basque country, where the mountains kiss the sky and the rivers sing ancient songs, a revival is quietly unfolding. Once overshadowed by fear and misunderstanding, Basque mythology is experiencing a renaissance, breathing life into the stories of old. The myths of Mari, the earth goddess, and Basajaun, the hairy guardian of the forests, now dance through the streets and resonate in the hearts of the people. There is a growing desire to reconnect with the past, to honor the spirits that have long watched over this land. In recent years, interest in Basque mythology has surged. Artists, writers, and scholars are digging through history, unearthing forgotten tales and weaving them into contemporary life. Schools have started teaching children about their rich cultural heritage, planting seeds of pride and curiosity in young hearts. As children listen wide-eyed to stories of the Txantxangorri, the wise women of old, they are reminded of the strength and knowledge that flows through their blood. This awakening is more than just nostalgia, it's a powerful assertion of identity. Imagine walking through a bustling village during a festival. Colorful banners flutter in the wind, and the air is filled with the sound of laughter and music. People gather in circles, sharing stories of Mari's wisdom and Basajaun's protection. Traditional dances bring communities together, their movements echoing the rhythms of the earth. There's a palpable energy, a feeling that the spirits of the past are joining in the celebration. Each person wears their heritage like a badge of honor, proud to be a part of something larger than themselves. Literature has become a vital part of this revival. Contemporary authors are reimagining ancient tales, bringing them to life for new generations. These stories, once whispered in the shadows, now shine brightly on the pages of books. Children and adults alike are drawn to the enchanting narratives that speak of love, bravery, and the delicate balance between humans and nature. Each tale serves as a reminder of the wisdom embedded in their culture, urging readers to cherish the land and the spirits that dwell within it. Art, too, plays a crucial role in this cultural resurgence. Local artists are creating stunning works inspired by mythological themes, capturing the essence of figures like Sugar, the storm god, and the playful Txantxangorri. These pieces tell stories without words, evoking emotions that words sometimes fail to express. Murals painted on the sides of buildings depict mythical scenes, transforming ordinary streets into galleries of heritage. The vibrant colors and imaginative designs invite passers-by to pause, reflect, and connect with their roots. Festivals rooted in mythology have also seen a revitalization. The Feast of San Juan, once a simple celebration, now incorporates elements of ancient rituals. Bonfires light up the night, symbolizing purification and renewal. People gather around the flames, singing songs that honor the spirits of the earth and sky. The festival has become a joyous fusion of old and new, blending Christian and Basque traditions. As families come together to celebrate, they pass down stories, creating a bridge between generations. The laughter of children fills the air, a sound that echoes the voices of their ancestors. One of the most touching aspects of this revival is the sense of community it fosters. People of all ages come together, united by a shared love for their culture. Elders pass on their knowledge to the young, igniting a spark of curiosity and pride. Families gather around the kitchen table, sharing stories of their ancestors, recounting tales of courage and resilience. This exchange creates a tapestry of shared memories, weaving together the past and present in a way that is both beautiful and profound. The significance of nature is deeply embedded in Basque mythology, and this connection is being honored anew. Community gardens are being cultivated, allowing people to reconnect with the earth. The gardens serve as spaces for learning, where families teach their children about the importance of sustainability and respect for nature. These green havens echo the teachings of Mari, who reminds them of the delicate balance that must be maintained between humans and the natural world. Each seed planted is a promise to nurture the earth, a commitment to preserving the legacy of their ancestors. As modernity continues to shape the world, the resilience of Basque mythology stands as a testament to the enduring power of cultural identity. The people of the Basque country are reclaiming their stories, recognizing that their heritage is not merely a relic of the past, but a living, breathing entity. It flows through their veins, shaping their values and aspirations. In a world that often feels fragmented, these myths offer a sense of belonging and purpose, grounding them in something far greater than themselves. This revival is not without challenges. The pressures of globalization threaten to overshadow unique cultural identities. Yet, the spirit of the Basque people remains unyielding. They are determined to honor their past while embracing the future, creating a beautiful balance between tradition and progress. The mythology that once faced the threat of extinction is now flourishing, a vibrant thread woven into the fabric of daily life. In the embrace of their stories, the people of the Basque country are reminded of who they are. They are descendants of warriors, healers, and storytellers, with a rich history that deserves to be celebrated. As they gather under the stars, telling tales of old, the firelight flickers, casting shadows that seem to dance in time with the spirits of their ancestors. There is magic in this revival, a heartwarming testament to the resilience of culture and the unbreakable bond between the past and present. Each story told, each song sung, strengthens the roots of their identity, ensuring that the rich heritage of Basque mythology will continue to thrive for generations to come.